There we go. Now, just to see if this was to replay. I think this is the deal that we're looking at. All right. All right. Let's go with that. Take me out. Oh, where is it? No, it's none of that shit. Ah, damn it. Oh, there we go. Hey guys, what's going on?
Well, I'm trying to. Both Tony and I are having a great deal of difficulty stitching together our log files for S26. So unfortunately,
Oh,
we won't be able to present them this week. So we'll. Yeah. Tony. Hi, Tony.
Hey,
See you again. Hi. Yeah, I'm having problems too. We may have to chat about it at some point. See if we can put them together.
that's all
I don't know
good.
what's going on.
Yeah, I'll send you an update on what I've done. I think I punted on the first two turns, and maybe I got them combined. I don't know. I got a bunch of it combined, but that first and second turn are a train wreck.
Yeah, it seems to be. Yeah, that seems to be the problem I'm having too. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'll just have to give it longer. I thought I was going to have more time this weekend than I ended up having. So unfortunately, I didn't get much didn't get much through it. And I've tried for about an hour tonight, and I'm not getting anywhere.
Wow.
A VASL session for what they load log and fast forward versus load log, fast forward and append versus load continuation might come in handy if I can find any information on that.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
It's like,
the load continuation on the file is no longer used. After you load it, you go to the tools and use that load continuation. For what reason, I don't know. But I think that's a vassal issue versus a VASL issue in terms of.
ASL issue, yeah, but I don't know what this like load log and fast forward. I don't know when you use that versus
What do
when
you
you
mean?
just do a load continuation.
What do you mean the fast forward?
Well, in I've got VASL VASL
Okay.
6631
Okay.
and VASL VASSAL 3.6.5.
All right.
And on the tools menu, there's now, besides refresh counters and load continuation, there's another little section that says load log and fast forward, or load log, fast forward, and append.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I can't, but so I tried using that, but it's like every time you load the next log file, it wants to shut down the previous one, which seems to me to defeat the entire point of appending. So I can't figure out what they're trying to tell me this does,
Interesting.
And yeah, so
Interesting.
so I can't quite figure it out. But as you say, yeah, Tony's right. I don't know. It's the transition between turn 1 and 2 seems to be the problem. It's like it seems to like if I load the turn 2 log, all of Tony's German reinforcements on the top side appear. But if I start from turn 1 and try to then load turn 2, all those counters are gone. It doesn't load them. So it's like really weird. So
Interesting.
I will attempt to continue figuring out what the problem is. So
Wow.
we're just gonna have to go with you, Stu. You're just gonna have to improvise.
Ugh. Okay. No worries. No worries. I'll just. Hey, Mark moves all of his tanks over this side, and then all of a sudden, the next file they'll teleport them on the other side of the map.
There you go. Yep. The Russians have been developing some sneaky technology.
Exactly, cloaking technology.
That's right.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So
we'll try again for next week. Sorry about that.
no worries. So what I have this week is just since I haven't seen any other files coming in, I'm just going to burn through the 3 strays files I have. These are basic. Again, this is pretty much basic ASL, and I don't even think our snipers came into play, so that rule technically didn't come into play, and there was very minor
ASL.
bypass movement. I don't think there were any heat of battle events. So for all intents and purposes, this is just, this is SK. I mean, other than the concealments, of course. But yeah, but that, once once you start moving and the guys see you, you just lose a concealment. So it's not too big a deal. And dealing with it, again, because this is an exit scenario, do you have to deal with the concealments? It's up to him to fire upon you to stop you. So to be honest with you, firing upon some concealments may or may not be a deal. But, as concealments are simply just, area attacks, area fire attacks, it just has your firepower. Just one other thing that has your firepower. And something pretty simple to execute, but to understand the full rules of concealment, I mean, it's still difficult. People are still learning on that anyway. So it's always something that you want to be sharp on when you can get concealment, when you can more than anything, when you can retain concealment, right? That's the big thing, especially if you're a defender or even the attacker, when you can retain concealment to maintain maximum defensive capabilities throughout your game. And when you have dummies in your games, when you're involved in dummies in your games, that comes that's another facet of deception. So again, some scenarios, some players do it better than others, just like anything else. And just another small facet. That's why we're trying to some of these smaller, quote, simpler scenarios, so we don't have to deal with incorporating a large multitudinous array of vehicles, weapons, artillery, and things like that. We're keeping it more simpler to provide SKers an opportunity to experience some of these ASL scenarios that I think that are the simpler ones. It may not be correct. My thinking may not be accurate in that aspect. but concealment is in every single game of ASL. So that's just a part of something that we have to deal with. And let me change my Stream Deck over. Yeah, that works right there. So so with that, like I said, I got a couple files submitted, and we're gonna go over mine first, because there's like pretty much like three things I kind of want to focus on, and it also will help you focus on your games where you're performing. You're just playing, you're gaming, right? We're all gaming, and obviously looking at these log files is not the same thing as playing the games. I mean, I know that's the situation, and it's easy to be like an armchair quarterback, but these are all to be self-reflective. It's like things that you will miss during the game. I mean, we miss a lot of things during our games. It's things that you will miss during the game, but as long as you keep seeing it and seeing the impact and importance of even the smallest things, the big things are no big deal. The big things you never don't miss, right? The FFE drops on your guys. You roll a 12 on it to hit chart. Those are like, your wife or girlfriend's coming in and slapping you in the face. I thought I told you to stop playing ASL 3 hours ago, sort of thing. Those are obvious things that will get your attention. Subtle things, in this case, residual firepower. Order of movement is a big one. Again, that's a tactical error that you'll see. Just regular movement things that you can conduct or perform in order to make your moves a little bit more efficient. And simply because that's the beauty of this scenario. It's a short scenario, not a super ass long scenario. And even in the short ones and the long ones as well, that these little mistakes can come bite you in the butt, and you'll see where it comes in very early. So we're going to start the game up here. I don't know if you guys watched the strategy things, but I set up all my guys at the top. Oops, let me turn the stupid map on here. I set up all my guys on the top. And so therefore, I wanted to try a strategy of just penetrating the middle. I didn't want to choose the standard strategies of going left or right. So it's like, okay, let's just try something different. I just want to try something different. So we could show you guys an example of, hey, there's no way in hell I'm going in the middle because that's where all the German units are. Well, taking into account, I said, A, you've got the orchard. B, you got more firepower. And C, you have leaders right with your units. The Germans don't have any of those advantages. So, well, they have the advantage of going through the orchard as well, but the problem is your firepower as the Americans can overcome that defensive ability that both sides can possess. Now, the Germans, on the other hand, unless he forms multi-location fire groups or a stack, which he probably doesn't want to do, is much more difficult to overcome. Essentially, it takes 2 squads of his to be close to our firepower of a 747. Obviously, he'll have 8, or 6, the case may be, if he's got half squads, or 8, if he's got 2 squads. And that's probably more of a luxury in this particular game than the norm. I think the norm might be you might straggle a couple, a half squad and a full squad together and try to do as much damage as possible. Whereas the Americans, 1 unit essentially takes the place of 2 German units. So that's the kind of way you have to think of this. If he has a stack of units, which he does in this particular game down here at the bottom, I would figure both of his leaders in those stacks, because that's kind of what I would do. And but that may not be the case, right? I mean, nothing guarantees that there's a leader in either of those locations. Now, knowing the concealment rules, and there are dummies in this scenario, I do believe that dummies may not set up in non-concealment terrain, and all 4 units in the center, again, I mentioned this in the other video, are not dummies, simply because of their position. They're not in concealment terrain. Everybody else is in woods, building, orchard, maybe grain. No, there's no grain over here. Nobody's set up in grain, but you could be set up in grain, concealment terrain, and therefore the dummies can be there. So the dummies are not in the middle, they're on the flanks. And so knowing that the dummies are on the flanks in this particular situation, there's probably 1 or 2 dummies probably 1 dummy per side. And I would assume that my opponent would have a deployed squads. So that means there's maybe 2.5 squads per side. So that's kind of where, as an attacker, That's kind of what I base my decisions upon. You know, what can I expect from the right flank? The left flank is not going to be an issue simply because they're too far away to really engage. Maybe one of these guys here can get into position. It depends what they are. Could be a leader. Don't know. You know, but that's the chance you got to take. And the other guys are just out of the game. So if those are 3 units on the left-hand side, those are 3 units I don't have to deal with. And even going in the middle, right? Even going in the middle, those units will not be able to get to my position quite in time. So whether you go on the right side, the guys in the center can come over and kind of try to interdict you or try and slow your advance, or you come in the middle or left side. Like I said, you're essentially going to eliminate a number of German units. And in this case, you know, it depends on the German setup. You probably, doesn't really matter where you come in. The more units you can eliminate from his response time is essentially what you're looking at. Essentially, which dictates your plan of attack. Me, I didn't really care what his setup was going to be. I was just going down the middle regardless, you know, because I just want to see how it would work. And again, my plan is pretty much just take as much cover as possible and try and skedaddle off the board. So let's just go ahead and bump through this one. We're here. Hopefully, this is the I got to position my sniper. Interestingly enough, most of his units are on the left-hand side, and I kind of want to put my sniper on the right-hand side because that's where essentially I was going to kind of go on the right side of the center. But because the placement limitations of the sniper, you know, it kind of gets stuck in the middle of the orchard. But it's a sniper too. I never rely on my sniper ever to activate. So, and here I'm just kind of busting forward. Again, I think, well, I'm not sure if you guys have watched the scenario, but this guy is going to be a 467, a very powerful, decent unit. I lose my concealment. I should lose my concealment. And there's the half squad. He has first fire and subsequent first fire, and he takes wall advantage on that particular hedge, which gives him the wall, and I do not get the wall. So in that situation, if he should happen to final protective fire, or this, you know, this fire that he does right here, the subsequent first fire, I'm essentially a -1 because I don't get the wall because of his wall advantage. And that's another concept, especially in this game, that might come into play more often than not. But I'm particularly upon that unit. This unit here advances. He has to reveal that unit as a real unit, so I lose my concealment. He does fire, so that fire is pretty key, and then we'll continue to move. My other guys move up and around. He subsequent first fires on this location. Now, the 447 fires at this location. What should the residual fire be, gentlemen? 4x range, so it's in range.
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. Why would it be nothing instead of 1? Why would it be nothing?
Because you have to take into effect anything outside the target hex, including anything along the hex sides. So
Right.
The hedge eats up the residual fire.
Right. So he fires on it base 2 firepower because he's subsequent first firing. That 2 gets reduced down to 1, which the hex side will eliminate that 1. So we're going to see how this affects on the run. This little screw up here, you know, it's just a mental screw up because I'm busy moving units where I could have moved this, that, and the other. He's just firing, you know, things like that. This is just based on both players. And this is why I say the residual firepower is the responsibility of both players. It's not an option to place. You just place residual firepower. It's like sniper checks. If you roll sniper, you take the sniper check. It's not like, oh, did the guy see it or not? You just place the residual firepower. Unless it's a machine gun that has rate of fire. Then whoever controls the machine gun has the option to place residual firepower and then thus lose rate of fire. But that option is on him. On normal squads, it's just going to place residual. So we'll see what happens in this case. So this unit here, I decide to go in there. So if I were to go in there, what would be the normal attack if there was a 1 residual firepower in there? Because there's walls on both sides, hedges, there's an orchard, there's a lot of shit in that hex. Well, assuming the 1 residual fire, well, it's there. What would be that attack?
1 minus 1.
1
for you
minus
just
1.
Moving, yeah, just for you non-assault moving.
Right. There's not assault moving, 1 minus 1. It's not open ground, nothing like that. So what happens is he rolls a 5, nothing normal. That makes it a 4, which is just barely a normal morale check, and I break. So again, the lesson here is when residual firepower is placed, again, both players make sure that it's not higher, it's not lower, or whatever. So for all intents and purposes, this unit should not be broken. So right then and there, especially in a get the hell off the board and exit scenario, broken units take time to get up and moving. So had this unit not been attacked by that 1 residual, there'd be 2 747s there, and I'd have an 8 firepower plus 1 shot coming back at this guy. Actually 12, because I'd have this guy as well. So just that 1 column shift could make a big difference. So that's the first big key point here, is when you're placing residual firepower, make sure you just double check everything, because this little stupid attack is enough to cause enough havoc. But we'll see what happens later. Oh yeah, there's something else that we forgot to. And then with the just general firepower, I try to jump this guy over here in close combat. Again, why do you think I jumped this guy in close combat? The primary reason for me jumping that guy. I am CX'd. There's not going to be an ambush there because it's open ground. Right? Freeze him. So my whole plan was to freeze him. If we should happen to casually CR each other, that's fine. He's a half squad. But the concept is plot moves up, freezes them, and then in the defensive fire phase, I'm just going to fire like 800 firepower, even. Plus, he is no longer, quote, good order, and now plot has wall advantage over this unit. So now his firepower is going to be a crap load. Oops, I screwed that up. It's going to be 2 squads, a hero, and plot. So there's going to be a lot of death happening. I don't care if I have to kill my own unit. It's a full squad out of my way, and with that full squad out of my way, there's nothing stopping me from just running off the board. So that was the idea, this concept here. Like I said, this say, well, hey, why do you stack? Why do you stack? And I was thinking to myself when I was coming home, it's like, man, should I just kept them back? But I forgot that I advanced the 337 in there. If I didn't advance the 337 in there, moving the stack here, in my opinion, is a big chance taker, because he's going to then prep fire at 8 no modifiers, which is a good chart, because you're talking 8 morale. The hero probably will be unaffected, and these guys here, even if he fired upon me, I expected at least one of my squads, 1 out of 2, to make it. Maybe plot would make it, and if he does, then everyone else has a greater chance. But that was the idea. I was willing to take a chance here. Wasn't the best idea. As it turns out, I don't know. You guys be the judge. It doesn't really matter. So all my other guys move. I leave my leader here to rally, of course. Try to rally that unit, which of course he doesn't really need rallied. Close combat, he is victorious over me because of my -1. By being CX'd, he rolls a 6. And then, Mark, that's right, Mark. And that reduced down to a 5, which is a CR, and he's a half squad. So that kind of jacked me up there. And then I roll, and again I roll my 12 here, and just keep in fact that's 1 point that's already gone from the game, from just a typical game error that you're going to experience. And that's just a reminder of. And then Mark blasts the living crap out of the stack, and it really takes a toll on these guys. Those guys lose a bunch of them. That was like, oh my God, I'm in really deep shit now. Because one, he's like the focal point of trying to get those guys going, and his 467 is unaffected. He's just, essentially, I haven't done anything yet on that side. And he starts moving up reinforcements, which really puts me into a pinch. I'm just going to blaze through this. First fires, no effect. He walks back. I still do have wall advantage from the hero, even if he's wounded. I get a pin on him. It does essentially what the pin does is saves the hero, right? The German's player turn. If this unit's pinned, he's just going to 99% of the time just advance on that hero and kill him. 4-1 odds. He's just gone. So therefore, my lucky shot from my hero pins that unit, which allows these DM units to lose their DM status in the beginning of the turn, which is real critical. Real critical. And you'll see, I don't rally them in the German player turn, or in my, I think it's my turn. So. Yeah, my turn, I don't rally anybody there, and I just got to burn 3 units there. I think the hero prep fire and actually broke this unit. Again, another good, decent, lucky shot. But my units, I got it trudging through the residual. You know, taking those 1/1 shots. And let's see, that guy's DM there. I'm just going to go to the key points. And remember again, this guy's berserk. This unit typically wouldn't be here, so that also would change things on this side. Instead of being berserk, this unit would then move out of line of sight. He would then go to that location, and at that point, he would probably see somebody over here and then start charging that direction. So that would change the actual path where that berserk unit would go, which, for all intents and purposes, I think it, although I lost a squad from it, I think it kept this berserk unit, 10 morale, from actually coming over here and really causing havoc. Because they're very difficult to deal with. You have to fire. They get 10 morale, so even firing on them, you're just the 10 morale is pretty hard to deal with. More units are breaking here on the front line. And where is the? So he rushes me there. And again, one thing I think I did wrong is as soon as he showed up in this location in the movement phase, the route phase comes along, and I think Doug pointed this out in the comments, which is a good point. Is then this unit would then could be able to route away, so he couldn't route here because that would be adjacent to him. This would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the unit would technically route back to the woods, which again is a bad thing because in the German's next turn, he'd either run down here or run to this. He'd run to this unit because it's closer in hexes, and then be behind me. So eventually, when he kills me, that berserk unit comes behind me. So that one little residual firepower early on caused a whole different complexion of the game. You know, did it cause me to lose? Did it cause him to win? I don't know. But what it did do is stop this unit from flanking over here if that was Mark's plan. I mean, he's got a bunch of guys in the middle, so that's what I would think about doing. If this guy's broken, I'm going that direction anyway. So by breaking and killing him here, it slows up his pursuit of my units on the backside. And based upon my condition early on, that could have been really huge. The game could have been over much, much sooner because then he'd be able to hook up with a 447 in the back and do some damage. So guys are covering down here. We're just going to advance up to here. Again, I just simply forgot that I could route out of there because I was, I'm kind of flustered with, my guys just getting plastered. I was still reeling from turn 1's damage, to be honest with you. These guys firing on that, no effects. And then I just kind of, because I can't route forward, essentially, and I can't route backwards to the building over here. For the most part, all of his route destinations are going to be somewhere in this part of the orchard over here. Technically, he could choose, no, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, he can ignore this location because it would be no further away from him. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Maybe I screwed it up. But I'll get to the key point near the end. Again, remember, we've got the screw up on the top where I screwed up. Should I move that unit in there? Probably not. But I wanted the advanced fire capabilities, taking advantage of my advanced fire strength of the Americans. That 12 firepower would be really nice. 12 plus 1 is sweet against these guys. Considering their ELR is 2, most likely, if he fails his morale check, there's a decent chance, that he will become a conscript and therefore really not even have a chance to self-rally. So that's a big thing there. Throwing this, essentially sending that 337 against this unit here just to first fire him, so the rest of these units can just waltz on by. This unit was not slated to get off. If he was unaffected, big bonus. Big bonus. Do I engage him in close combat? I don't know. All I really wanted to do with that unit was first fire him. That's it. And I hadn't had a plan for him after that, to be honest with you. And he's getting some shots down here, some good shots. Subsequent for fire shots. Other units are running into the residual. No residual there because of 2. The 8-0 routes in that direction. And that unit the hero gets eliminated here. Didn't get a chance to, we're going to ignore the conversation of the fire lane for now. But didn't get a chance to actually do anything with the hero. With a medium machine gun. He did do some important things of pinning that unit in K6 earlier, which I think is a real big game changer on my side. That which allowed my units in K8 to rally, because those units are over here now. Plot is over here. He was here. He got plastered. Boom. And even with that, game turn 3, he's still in the middle of it, the thick of things, making an impact in the game. So even though he got plastered, this 138 leader pinning this unit here kept this unit from being DM'd. And I think my rolls were just barely enough to rally them, to be honest with you. Is what my perception was. I try to route this direction. Now here, again with Doug, conversation with Doug online, this unit, once he routes here, he could actually lose concealment and cause interdiction at this location. I thought that he couldn't do that. Again, that was my error. But he could drop concealment once he enters that open ground location and force an interdiction check. So that was a possibility. My morale is 8. Does he want to lose concealment from that? Don't know. But if he goes here, then he'd probably have to go. Actually, he might. If he sees this unit, he would just have to stay there. And that would be legal because he didn't start the route phase in an open ground location. But he can finish in an open ground location. But with 8 morale, the interdiction might be mad. Plus, this unit can, fire on him later. But that's another little thing. So the biggest part is coming up here. So that guy 247, really not the berserk guy, not really worried about him. He was way in the back. Again, I'm trying to get these guys off. Now here, can the CX unit get off the board? This is the question. This is the game-winning question. Can this CX 747 get off the board? So how many points do I need to get off the board?
I'm sorry. Which unit?
The G4 unit, the CX unit.
Okay. All right.
So which, assuming, well, this guy we deal with, but regardless, actually, let me get to that point. He prep fires, moves a couple units. My first fire, blasts a couple dudes. This is a great attack. Great attack by Mark. I was just shitting bricks. I mean, when he's got the huevos to start jamming guys at my face, I mean, I was thinking, oh man, I just gotta roll decently. Hopefully he'll fail some route checks. This was really, really good move. I like that move there. Really puts a lot of pressure on me and who the hell I'm gonna fire at. Big move there. 247 really not concerned about because I knew he'd be out of the battle. Because I have to move next turn. He could advance, but that guy the whole stack gets eliminated on the right hand side, and then we'll approach the American turn 4. Great close combat opportunity here. This is really wonky. We'll go into this in just a second. That was really so the ambush here. I ambush the +1. No, probably not, because I'm pinned. It adds 1, but I don't get ambushed. So, oh no, he's lax. So I do get the ambush potential because they nullify one another. The pin +1 and his lax from his 437 negate one another. So there's a 3 difference. I do have the great ambush on him. That 1-1 -1. It's like, what the hell? That's the best I'm going to get. Actually, I'm halved. So it's 1-2 -1. I don't remember what and then I roll 12, which is like the worst roll I could have done, because then he could withdraw, essentially blocking me in these positions, which would be just killer, or I essentially don't get attack, and then he gets an attack back because I chose to attack, and it's like shit. Now he could possibly kill me. He chose to attack, and then because I ambushed him, I still can withdraw from close combat. Problem is the 747 can't withdraw because he's pinned. So the pin on that status there was pretty key in getting him stuck. But nothing is wrong. Not a big deal. That's not where I made the big error. So here's the situation. American turn at the end of the turn. We got to count up points because I need 10. I got nobody off. So Plot and his studs over here, 6 points. Here's 3 more points, 2 points, and 1 point. So there's 5, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12 points. I need 10 of the 12 points going off. Here's the question. Can this unit in G4 get off the map?
Okay, so so he's CX, so he does technically only have 4. So he can only do 4 MF,
Correct.
and he's got to spend 2 anyway to get over the wall.
Right.
So that would give him 2, 3. So you can't. Yeah, you may not be able to get off because I mean you can't bypass this location. You can't bypass here because that would be your 4th MF.
Right.
1, 2, 3. Well, yeah, you can't use the road because you didn't start on the road.
Right.
So you can't use the road bonus to get yourself an extra MF.
So what do you think? He's pretty much stuck, right? He's not getting off.
I don't see how he's going to get off. Yeah, I don't see how he can do it. Yeah.
So he's not getting off. Stu could get off, and these other cronies over here can CX, and they could just get off anyway, right? That's 6 movement factors. 2, bypass E3, which is the advantage of bypass. 3, bypass E2, 4, and then jump the hedge for 6. So all of these units can get to E3 without getting fired upon by this unit down here. This guy is the problem in J1. Now here becomes the order of movement. What I did was I moved Stu. I looked at this guy, says, oh shit, he can't get off. Screw it, let's go to the next guy. That was my problem. Stu can get off, right? He takes a couple shots from some of these guys. But what should happen before? What should the first move?
The CX unit moved straight, like jammed him right into I2, maybe.
Or
so you move this guy first and move him right there.
Let's say I move here, and Mark's in the room. Mark, would you take that shot? If I just move simply 1, 2, 3, 4, would you take that shot on the 747? Maybe he's asleep.
No,
No, why not?
because I don't care about him.
Correct. You're still going to shoot.
but-
You're still going to shoot Stu. The
Yeah,
other
he still can shoot Stu, but at least with that unit there, he can't subsequent first fire on Stu.
Yes.
correct, correct. But when Stu jumps the hedge, what's this firepower?
Be 4 down 1.
4 down 1. Okay. 747 needs to move first. Still needs to move first. Where are we moving? And this, I completely spaced it. I preach this shit to you guys all the time, and I didn't even do it. So this guy can't get off, so he has to be the first to move. What is this guy going to do? Maybe Mark's going to shoot there. I don't think he would have taken the shot because Mark just hasn't made too many mistakes at all during this game. No one's going to fall for that. Right?
Smoke.
Yeah, smoke. Where's he going to smoke?
Well, if you smoke, all right, but that would be 2, 3. So you're already at 2, so 3. So you'd have to go, and you can't go CX. So the only place you can smoke is either. Well, okay, so you can get to H2. You can probably get to H2 and try to throw smoke on your. Well, no, that'd be 2, 3, and try to throw smoke in your own hack.
Yeah, I'd go H4 H2 for smoke.
Right.
Then Stu can go through it.
Right. You can go either way.
Yeah.
You can go either way. I don't want to throw smoke here to give this guy cover because this guy's here, and for me to take advantage of the smoke, I'd have to go up and get blasted. So I kind of don't want to do that. So this will be through movement factors to here, and in a 1 die roll. Now again, 50-50 shot. In this case, we didn't get it, but that's the chance we take. Again, you have 2 things going for you. He might shoot at you. There's a possibility. There's a distinct possibility he might shoot at you, might not. But you don't care if he shoots at you. If he shoots at you, you win. If he doesn't shoot at you, then you get to place smoke for free. This guy might shoot at you. It's possible. He's got no other. He could probably shoot at you right here and break you before you attempt smoke. But if I place smoke there, can Stu get off? That's the next question. If that's our plan, can we make
Right.
the plan work? Can Stu get off from there?
Sure.
Right?
Three down to the smoke hex now instead
Right.
of 2.
Right. So that gives him another fire opportunity, right? But this unit actually gives this unit doubles, 2 fire opportunities, and this unit as well. This unit rolls. When he rolled, he got a normal morale check on me, and I passed it with a -1. So looking at the 4 chart, gentlemen, look at your 4 firepower chart, and this is where you really have to make the order of movement. Literally, although of course I need to roll a 1, 2, or 3 for the smoke. I mean that's got to happen, but that's what you're doing. That's why we're here. We're here to play the game, and dropping smoke is part of it, just like fire attacks. So we have a 4 attack, and he rolled. I think he rolled a 7, just an average 7, right? Like I said. Let's assume your opponent rolls a 7. Let's see what happens. He rolls a 7, -1 was the net modifiers, drops it to a 6, and I simply roll my maximum dice roll to pass my normal morale check, and he pinned me, which essentially ended the game for me because I need that point. Now, if we got that smoke off, if I was smart enough to realize this guy can't get off, okay, let's do something with him, right? Damn it, where the hell did that go? Let's do something with this guy. Where's my? Oh, there it is. Fire attack. And let's assume there's a 50% chance that we're going to drop smoke there. On his roll of 7, how would that have changed the result? What would the modifiers be for me in that location? +1, right?
Yeah, +2 for the smoke, -1 for -1 for non-assault movement.
Right. So next question is well, first of all, it wouldn't have had any effect, right? The shot here would not have had an effect of +1, but that doesn't mean that he would have taken the shot. If there's smoke here, what can the German wait for? If he knows I'm going to move here, that's a possibility that line of sight might be clear. Then the original shot would be had at the 7 -1, and I could have gotten pinned here. But that's a close line of sight. Again, make your opponent think: is he going to wait for the shot? Is the chance to wait for the shot worth it, or is he guaranteed a shot here? Make your opponent make tough decisions, and this would be a tough decision. I think that's pretty close. That line of sight's pretty close, you know. And let's just string it. Let's see what happens. Because I hate the 4+1s because I'm jack garbage. I think it's in the middle. So that's blocked it. I honestly thought that was going to be clear, to be honest with you.
Well, you would celebrate that.
And I screwed up with the interpretation of the LOS on hedges because I thought I had that hex covered from here.
Right.
But I don't because the vertex clips it.
Right. It goes straight along the side and it hits that little part of the hedge right there. So yeah. And that 4-3-6, we discussed it again. The 4-3-6 slowed up that leader's movement, and if both those guys were there, then it was pretty much a done deal. But I think that this shot would have been open, and if Mark didn't take this shot to wait for the 4 -1, that would have been okay as well, because that's a close line of sight. Because a 4 up 1, you've got to roll a 6. 4 up 1, you've got to roll a 5 for a result. That's not a great bet. I mean, I like roll my 5s, but to win the game on a 5 versus an 8 over here for a pin task check, that's a big difference in possibilities. But you got to know your lines of sight. If you know this is clear, which I thought it was, but it turns out it's not. If you think that's clear, wait for that shot. You know where I'm going. If I'm not going there and I bypass this hex over here, then he's got to trace LOS to that vertex right there, which that's probably clear. That's almost 100% clear for sure. And therefore, he could shoot at me in that location. But, am I going to go there? There's a guy point blank, and then, it's highly unlikely that I'm going to go there. But, I would think holding for a shot over here would be just as good. Now, this 4-4-7 also has a shot over here. and he's got 2 shots because he gets first fire, subsequent first fire. So that adds 1 more small attack into the combination. But he has to add the hedge. So that's looking that's a 4 up 2 for that guy. Which, hey, it's better than nothing, you know, because he's not going to be able to. It's going to be a 4, the same thing over here, 4 up 2 on these guys. And oh, actually, these guys might be a little bit better, but still, order of movement that I didn't do, which I preach to you guys all the time, is something that was an end game factor of trying to win the game. You know, even though I dismiss this, you know, he can't get off, he's worthless to me. Don't think of that. That guy has value. If anything, you know, like you said, just run him right up to an I2. You know, that's definitely, even if you forget the smoke, run him right here. You know, this guy, it doesn't matter who fires at this guy. That limits this guy here to 1 shot. That's also a good thing, even if you forget to drop the smoke. You know, you're still attempting to give Stu a good possibility of getting off. You know, it's easy to forget smoke. It happens all the time. But this is another decent move that you guys can do, right? Because the smoke isn't guaranteed, right? And when Stu jumps in that hex, if there's no smoke, this guy gets 2 shots anyway. So what do you want? You want 1 shot? You want to gamble with 1 shot? And then he can't fire again? Or do you want to gamble with smoke? That's up to you. That's up to you. That's however you want to play the game. And again, this guy breaking, even if he breaks and another guy fires on him, casualty reduces him, doesn't matter. He'd have to break him 3 times to eliminate that unit from the map. Sort of like I did with his half squad. I got to break him. I got to have 2 successful shots, and he's going to miss both morale checks to die. I got lucky over here. I mean, I had some firepower, but it's easy to miss those firepower shots. I got lucky over here. But moving a unit here or moving him here and trying to smoke, you know, the choice is yours. You could work it out mathematically, or you could just say, screw it. I'm just going to see if he baits a shot. Because whatever, you know. Because I don't want the 2 shots of -2 or -1. It's a simple fact. So, big thing that I forgot. Like I said, I love the game. I still got 9 points off. I was happy with the progress of the game. Mark was a great opponent. Like you say, he's pulling everything in there, trying to stop me as best he can, and that's all you can hope for from your opponent. Love the melee here. It stops that guy from getting off and dropping smoke. More importantly, dropping smoke, you know, and some guys getting off. But yeah, 1 squad here, and we already discussed that guy up here. But end game, even if he can't get off, he can still do something. Let's say this guy wasn't there, and this guy was the only one that could fire on things. I'm just going to delete that. Clone this guy. In the same situation, he can't get off, and Stu's here. In the same situation, he can't get off, and Stu's here. And this guy's gone. So he's the only part of the equation now. This guy can't get off because he's CX'd. Right? Let's say the 447 has wall advantage. Just for shits and giggles. All right? Do we move Stu first and just take our chances going across? What options do we have?
Well, that squad can still throw smoke right on top of the
Right.
447.
Right. Even though this guy can't work, hell, you can go 2. You can go 2 and then drop smoke on him, or 2, 3 and drop smoke in your hex. Whatever you want to do, you can do. Smoke on top of him is more effective, right? Obviously, because it'll add another +1, and especially a point blank shot, right? You're dealing with a point blank shot. This is highly desired. If someone can draw fire to this location here, where your path is going to be through, then you might want to take it slightly lower and drop it here in case there's a secondary shot. But we eliminated that secondary shot from the example. So that's one thing that you can think about. Again, this guy, the only purpose he has is to providing smoke to his allies. And this would be a perfect example and a perfect execution, because now it's +3. Essentially, Stu's moving in a +3 building in relation to this guy's firepower. You know, building. And that's huge. It's like moving through the chateau. It's exactly the same thing as moving through the chateau and this unit being right here firing on him. Exactly the same thing. So, Bring your chateaus and throw them on people, and you'll have a much more effective means of moving your units throughout the battlefield. This is huge. You guys, I've seen you guys be dropping your smokes in your games. Boom, boom. You're shooting your smoke rounds, plopping them on guys, in front of guys. That just neutralizes them. And you guys know the effectiveness of that. And we'll see some of that in some of your guys' games that we'll be reviewing soon enough. And we can discuss the effectiveness of a live game instead of just talking about it. I like to see shit in action because it shows you the effectiveness of what can happen. Or when you don't do it, what the hell happens then? What you're faced with when you fail to see those opportunities.
Yeah.
All right. Stu got
Question, Stu.
all right.
Let's say you're leaving this way and you go here and off, or you go here and off. So when you left here, he got a full shot, right?
Right.
And when you left here, it'd be a snapshot, right?
We discussed the Mark. Do you want to discuss that?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's interesting, Craig. I screwed up by putting this guy here because I thought the snapshot rules would allow me to take a snapshot here, but the rule says that it has to be a hex side on board movement. So there's no snapshot for an exit hex side.
Okay, good to know. Thanks.
Yeah. And I thought that snapshot was available as well. Because that's why I plan my moves. I'll just move all these guys. I'll stop right here. Even if they could get off the board, I'm just stopping here to avoid the snapshot that I thought that existed, and then just advance off the board. You don't have to move off. You can always advance. And I knew that was a block line of sight, right? I mean, that's pretty obvious. That's a block line of sight. And that's safe. You know, I can't get shot by anyone. But yeah, we discussed that. And so, yeah, that's a good position, but unfortunately, we both misinterpreted the snapshot rules. Again, that makes a difference of where I can get off too, right? Maybe he can go through here and get off there. Maybe he wants, let's say this, if this was a stone building, he might want to take a snapshot instead. Can't do that. So I learned something there. I learned a lot in this particular game. So, again, 3.5 turns. How much can you learn 3.5 turns, right? One, you can have fun with melees when you roll ambush and then you roll a 12 beyond that. And then you just jump your leader out, which is I needed him to get the hell out anyway. And then don't forget your guys that can't quote, directly satisfy the victory conditions. But unfortunately, this is the only guy that could really has the best chance of me getting my victory conditions. Everybody else is moving. This is the key guy in this situation. The one guy that can't get off is the one guy that has to help me satisfy the victory conditions, and I ignored him. And it cost me. Mark shot as much as he could, and he just got average rolls. I think we got average rolls this game for the most part. I don't really care about some of the fours that Mark was getting because my guys were rallying and, he's passing Marachek. Big deal. Look where I got. I was very pleased in this game. Plot got plastered early, but he got off. He got smashed, and he was sitting here for like a turn and a half, it seemed like. And he still got off the board. So, like I say, that's a perfect example of don't hang the game up, guys. He had a 4-4-7 here. You got to make adjustments. Try and save that guy as much as possible. Luckily, that happened for me. Sometimes it can't always happen, but you could rally. I've rallied stacks of DM units before. So don't give up. And especially, these 7-4-7s are badasses. That's a lot of firepower. Once these guys come back into the fray, the 4-4-7s really can't come that close. They're just going to break. And he can't rally them. Both of his leaders were like in this section over here. One's here, one's here. Anybody breaking over here just stays broken. Even the 3-3-7s are going to keep broken. So that's a tough. It's a tough, tight wire that you're walking there. So smoke. Useless units are not useless. 6+1 leaders not useless. Run the 6+1 leader down here. Act like you're getting off. Because 6+1's not going to pass a morale check. The 8 morale unit is more likely to pass that morale check. And the one thing I was thinking about on the way home is high firepower. When you got high firepower stacks, let's say you want to approach this building here. This guy's not CX'd. He's got a lot of firepower. I'm going to move Winkler right real quick. He's got 10 firepower right there. So point blank shots are 20, right? If you want to get a decent shot on this guy, and you've got, let's say you don't have smoke. Let's say you're not the Americans. About the only way to really effectively get shots is to bait some shots out. Maybe move a full squad here. Again, is he going to kill him? It's possible at 20 firepower, but is he going to, one, is he going to fire everybody? Two, is he going to fire anybody? And then three, how many other units can you move up? And the biggest thing about large stacks like this is you want to soak up that first shot. And we covered this in another scenario that you guys were dealing with. We want to soak up. We want somebody else to take that shot, because when Plot's coming here with his two guys behind, right? This is the situation. We got some sort of bullshit like this going on. We're moving this guy here. We don't care if he takes 1,000 bullets in the chest. He's going to break. You know this guy's going to break if he takes that 20. So if he takes that 20, how much residual is in that hex? 8. 8, right?
Yeah, 8. Yeah,
8.
Yeah.
So, and let's say he doesn't fire there. That's fine and dandy. Doesn't fire there. We're unbroken. We make it. Let's say it's our half squad. We don't bait him with the half squad. Say, shit. What are we gonna do now? Go here. He could fire there, or he goes here. Let's move this 447. This guy over here. Let's say he takes this shot here and drops the 20 on us, and we break. Right? Do we care too much about that? What are we looking at now? Now he's first fired, and then we'll go on to the next game. Essentially what we did is we turned his 20 firepower shot into an 8+2 shot when Plot wants to go in there. Now Plot, you may or may not want to move both of them, right? Let's say this is like non-Americans. Here he can't fire because they're all first fired. And he could first fire here, but that's going to be an 8+2, something we can deal with, right? If he rolls a 6, it's a morale check. It's a good attack, lots of residual firepower. But if you need to get in there, right? If you need to put pressure on him, 8+2, and when he subsequent first fires, if he wants to, that's going to be another 8+2. Much better than a 20 chart. Much better than, especially with the +2 in there. And if you could assault move in there, it's even better. Then it's an 8+3. 8+3 is a good chart. I mean, obviously, it's not overstack. So 8+3 is a good chart. So what you could do is, if you're dealing with these large stacks of units, it's tough, and you have to have the units to do this, is to be able to take that shot. Take a shot from him. Bait him with something small, then give him another piece of candy. And if he takes the shot, can we then occupy that location? Maybe send a unit here. Maybe he subsequent first fires on a squad here. The 337 is not going to be affected because he chose not to shoot at him. And so we've got this unit here that's going to get shot. Let's say he breaks. Now, Plot can move into here because now these guys are final fired, right? Now Plot can move in here, take probably only one 8+2 shot. Because if he fires again, that's going to be a morale check. And that's the best thing in the world. Is if you get him to final protective fire, it's like you're shooting back at him in your movement phase. You don't even have to advance fire on this guy. Because if he rolls a 7, 2 of those guys are going to pin, and the 436 is going to break. And if a 7 plus 2 on the 8 chart is a 9, that's a pin task check. I think. I'm pretty sure. Pin task check on the 9. Yep, pin task check. Let's say that means we need to roll an 8 and an 8. Pretty good chance. And then guess what? This guy's broken. He's got a route. Both those guys are pinned. What's going to happen to him in our advance phase? 337 and Plot goes in there, except for the broken guy, right? We lost 2 guys. He lost 1. And now we have a 3-2 -1 on this stack. And he's half firepower, which is the best thing because more than likely he's not going to kill anybody of ours. We have a 3-2 sitting on this thing. -1, assuming we don't ambush him. And what are odds? What's the odds of ambushing this guy right here in that situation? What do we need to ambush him? Let's say he rolls a 3. What do we need to roll to ambush?
He's laxed and pinned, so he has to add 2.
Well, the lax guy died. The 436 had a route. He broke when he rolled a 7.
Yeah, but in this scenario, all.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I was just regular scenario. Yeah, absolutely, in a regular. But it just ignoring the lax. Yeah, so you get the pin, like you said, +1, and we got
Right, so
-1.
and then you get -1. Right?
Yeah, so it's like it's a 2 advantage for us. So if
Right.
we,
But in this scenario, it would be actually a 4 difference
yeah,
because you're automatically stealthy, so you get automatically -2, and he'd be stuck with +2 because he's lax.
yeah. So that gives you, that's almost guarantees an ambush in this situation. But that's how you can approach in taking tough positions, because that's a lot of firepower. Is move some guys in there. Some guys won't fire at all, and they'll wait until all your guys are done, then blast you with the 20 in the defensive fire phase. But the other stack can shoot at him and then engage him as well. And usually the result's the same. Let's say Plot moved over here with 2 guys. No, oh my God, seriously? Oh, what the hell? Let's say Plot moved over here with 2 guys, and then there was these guys here. Oh my God. Why is the melee being highlighted? What the hell is going on here? It's just screwing up. Really weird. All right. So even if he holds his fire and blasts these guys and they break, that's the same 2 squads we had broken in the first scenario. You know? And we still have 10 firepower that we're going to fire on this guy at 8+3, and then we're going to jump him in close combat. More than likely, they won't be pinned because they're just going to do final fire. That's still good odds. 10-6, still 3-2. Still 3-2. And with Mark's example of them being lax and stealthy, that's huge. You know, that's still a good thing. Still a good thing. So let's go. That's enough of this. Again, that's just an example. Extrapolated. Let's go on to the next scenario. And I think we'll go ahead and choose Craig. So let's go ahead and close this game. And oh, this is Mark, and this is one of Mark's. I think it's. Let me know if you guys want this one or the other one. Mark and Craig played this twice, and so we have 2 options to choose from. Do you want the one on the right or the one on the left? Which one do you guys think was a more interesting game?
Probably the one on the left, right, Craig?
Fine with me.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll load the other one then. That was the 10th. Here we go. Cool. All
I
right.
think it's a little embarrassing, but let's watch it anyway.
No, nothing's embarrassing about playing ASL. All right. So again, he's jamming on the left hand side. So what does that mean for all the units by the J8 and to the right, and possibly even this guy right here? What does that mean in terms of the Americans' perspective? Most likely they can't make. They're out of the game. Right. This guy, unless he's a leader, he's got to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, advance. That's all the farther he's going in German turn 1. Right. And then the second turn, that's when he CXs. And then he can go 1, 2, 3, 4, advance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, advance. So this is 3 movement phases over here. You're looking at a shitload of wheat fields. The only move that this guy has is to kind of go over this location and maybe, I don't know what the hell he's going to do. But it's a good spot. It's a good lines of sight. He can actually see all the woods. Decent spot. He can actually see this location. So he's got a good vantage point. Definitely a good vantage point. But it's sort of like these guys over here. He's kind of stuck. He's kind of stuck where he is, which is okay. Not a big deal. That's the purpose of this scenario. So we're just going to focus on the left hand side for here. And so, Craig, were you Craig? Were you the American? You were the Americans, right, Craig?
Yeah, I was the Americans with no real overall plan.
Okay.
Sometimes in a game I have a plan, and this one I didn't.
Okay. Well, you knew what you had to do. You had to just kind of jam off the board. When you saw this setup over here, well, just tell me what your thoughts were on his setup, right? You throw the guys on the left hand side. We're going to move them through the wheat fields. And what do you expect to be on this side? What do you expect how the Germans to react?
Well, I figured he had a gun here, but I figured these were just average units, or possibly. I mean, I didn't think they were phonies but I figured over here might be phonies. So I just thought I'd go down this way if I could.
Okay.
And the people to the right are so far away. I hopefully they wouldn't get in the game.
Right. Good side to pick, to be honest with you, because other than this guy right here, that's probably covering the lane or this way, you've got like 2 speed bumps. And with your firepower, I think you could try and handle that. Now, Mark, what were you thinking when he jammed all those guys over there?
Yeah, I thought I was in trouble,
Yeah.
but I figured the wheat field slows them down a little bit, and the guys along the wall get into action. And but the disadvantage with this side is you got some open ground to cover to get off. And if I knew I got down there, he'd have to cross a couple open ground hexes to get off.
Yeah. And that's always brutal. That's always brutal. All right. So let's see what happens. So do some rearranging, a little deploying, maybe, or you automatic deploy. That's a hell of a shot right there. The first shot comes out of a 4.47 and does DM that guy. No residual because of all the hindrances. So let me move this over just a bit. Oh, you know what? Scoot that. First fire, final fire. Now, did you final fire here? I'm not sure.
I think I final protective fire somewhere here.
Okay.
With that guy.
Yeah, these guys are charging forward. Yep, absolutely. Wow. Yeah. I can see where you're thinking about this. Looking kind of grim.
Yeah, that's where I final protective fired. So I took a whack out of him there.
Oh, the hero went bye-bye. Oh, must have been a 2. Must have been a... Oh, okay, a 2. K, probably a K1 and K2, the leader. Looks like maybe the leader was selected and you rolled a 6. Yeah, not good. Not good. That guy's just gone. Yeah, that's looking pretty crazy, especially when the Americans are moving the way they are. Now, right here, Craig, what do you think? What were your thoughts at this point? You essentially gave up an 8-1 leader for a 4.47. That guy's gone. Unfortunately, that's your only leader. So this guy might absorb some attacks, but he still could rally. So what were your thoughts right here, Craig?
I was pretty happy at this point. I wish I would have known to give the machine gun to the hero. That would have helped out a lot, because I would have just put him here probably.
All right. Well, give it to.
I was feeling pretty good at this moment.
Yeah, not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. He can only fire so many times, right? And plus your smoke making capability. It's just crazy. And then the reaction over here.
Yeah, I think I missed a lot of smoke rolls in the second turn or somewhere.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
That just happens.
That's pretty brutal. Oh, shoot. Now, when this unit moves here, do we lose concealment? I think that's the movement phase. I'm not sure. It might be the advanced phase.
I think he advanced in there.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, no, these guys still move. Oh, yeah, he lost concealment. There we go. Advanced fire. So, yeah, now he's just kind of getting units essentially, like you said, just shoving the guys in your way. And the guys coming up top is pretty grim. That's I wouldn't like that as the Americans, because he's just going to kind of collapse upon you. And like you said, here's your die rolls for smoke. I think I remember reviewing this, and you didn't get a lot of smoke rolls. But you do have the benefit of that wheat field at this point. That's huge. So this guy here. Where could you route that guy? Where would be another position where you could route this guy? He came from DD5.
Well, I can't really route. I have to go here, I think.
All right. So you're in DD5. I'm just going to clone. Oh, there you go.
Oh, whoops.
No, that's all right. Just go ahead and leave him there. No big deal. So if you're...
I guess I could have gone back here.
Right. Why could you have gone back there?
Because the distance from this unit, I don't have to worry about.
Right. And this is 3 movement factors. This is 3. Now, what are you facing when you are routing that direction? Are you low crawling or are you routing directly?
Well, I take interdiction, but I'll rough it,
Right. 8 morale. again, even if you fail interdiction, that's one more point that you'll have up in the front. And he's near leader, so could he possibly? You could probably get here, and the leader could just back up, whatever your plan might be, if you think you need him to be there to rally him. But you could just move him right back here, and then when it becomes your turn, you just roll an 8. So I mean, you need a 5 in the beginning. You just want to avoid that DM. So yeah.
I've been playing this game for a while, and only recently did I learn if it's equal distance from an enemy unit, you don't have to route there,
Yeah.
which is really slow of me, but I finally got it.
It's not slow of you whatsoever. It's
I learned it in the Japanese one where I could have routed towards the exit, and I didn't.
yeah. It's but it's not slow at you. But I mean, a lot of people they don't take that into consideration. So don't knock yourself down for that. It's just people think that I have to go here because it's closest cover. No, if there are other conditions, right? There are other conditions. You could possibly, if you don't have a line of sight to this unit over here, you could possibly even go to CC5. Right? I mean, you probably have a line of sight to this guy, but if you didn't, you could technically go to CC5, and that in certain situations you might want to go to CC5, especially if he's got some units coming up that could occupy that position in the movement phase. So he'd have to stop outside and then force you to route or surrender, whatever the case may be. But at that point, you don't care because you put him there to slow his entry into CC5. But yeah, but I just kind of saw this. It's like, okay, there's a possibility down here for you to come back into the fray, because now what we have to do is, how many points do we have actively can possibly get off? How many? You got 1 here. We got 7 here, which is a lot. So it's 8, 9, 10, and then the hero is worth how much getting off?
0.
1 for the 8-0.
0 for the hero. The 8-0 is 1, but the hero is worth nothing. Right, and so that makes it 10 straight up for everybody else over here. So this guy, if we should happen to rally him, now this guy could possibly rally too, but then he's got to take the front motor shots. If we could possibly rally him in this safe position, which no one's going to be able to DM him unless they get way over there, then that gives us a little bit of leeway when we have to take, like when you guys were discussing, the open ground shots. It gives.
Right here is about the first time I started to think about how open this is.
Yeah, I've played this before, and every time I go over here, it's like I dread this open ground crap, and it just doesn't seem like you can get to these buildings are too small. It's like they're like SK buildings, you can see right through them. So but yeah, and that, again, that's sort of like my game, where one little snippet like that can make a big difference. Mine was the residual firepower and forgetting to move the guy last. I made a lot of errors in that one, and every little thing, especially in a tight scenario like this, can make the difference. That's a good shot right there. That was a pretty good shot. 2 pins, that's awesome. That was pretty awesome, because now, again, pins, can't get into CC1. And he can't snapshot on these ones over here. So the pins are horrendous for the Germans. Okay, we're starting to move. There's a smoke.
Oh, I did get a smoke. Okay.
Yeah, awesome. 3, and unfortunately, yeah, that's a line of sight right there. And then he pops him. But he's first fired, so he can only fire 3. So the rest of that gap is open. And I think you self-rallied this guy that was up here. Some of these guys up here self-rallied, so you got that guy back anyway. So that was pretty cool. Those guys prep fired. Advance fires. And that guy, what happened to this guy over here? Did Mark just kill him?
I think so.
Infantry 9, infantry 10. Those are high shots. I'm not sure what happened to that guy. Let's see. Yeah, what happened to this guy right here?
I'm in morale. Only a half squad.
It's the route phase right now. So where can this go? Tell me about the route phase with regards to this unit.
Well, I guess he went back up to the woods. Oh, and then he would fail
I think he can see. I think he can see this unit over here. Oops, someone's got the LOS. I can't check the LOS on that. Someone's got the LOS string locked up. But I think you can see this guy right here. Okay.
Oh yes.
So let's say he sees that. Let's say that's a line of sight. I think that's a pretty easy line of sight to have.
Right, yeah.
So he's got line of sight to this guy. He definitely has line of sight to that guy, right? Because that's the guy who broke us in the first place. 467 is not in line of sight. This is the most important unit that you have to consider. Why is he the most important versus this guy or this guy?
I do not know.
First of all, where does he have to route?
Well, he'd have to low crawl to the top of the board, I'm assuming.
Well, if where would that be? Did you choose his destination?
Well, I probably would just low crawl to here because going all the way to the woods, which is might have been what I done,
Right.
would not help me because he would never recover in time to get off the board.
Yeah, correct. So if you route back, he's probably dead, which gives you a clue. But next question, does he have to route? He's in open ground. Does this unit have to route?
Normal range of anyone.
Right. Not normal range. This guy here, that's why I said this guy's the most critical one, because he would be in normal range, but we have a building in the way. So that would, I'm not sure what turn this is. This is ally turn 3. So we have a potential, that this DM is gone. You know, if the Germans don't make it, if this 467 doesn't make it to here, and this 467 doesn't make it to here, we have a potential, because we're not going to be DM'd at that point, a re-DM, we have a potential for a self-rally later on. He may shoot at us. I mean, that's a possibility. But we have potential for self-rally. Again, make sure you keep your eyes on those. Make sure you refresh. This is a weird situation of the routing rules where he's in a corner. He can't go back because he's getting closer to this guy. And he's normally you would think he can't stay in open ground, but nobody's in normal range. Nobody's in normal range of that guy, so that guy technically doesn't have to route at all. So he can't route any direction because he's getting closer to somebody else, but he's kind of stuck in the corner, to be honest with you. And once somebody gets in range, this 467 moves here, then he's in deep shit. Then he's going to be just FTR at that point. And the 467 may have gone there anyway. So then you start moving some units here. Again, you still got good cover from the thing here. Now you are... Oh, that's about defensive fire. Alex is turn 3. That's just a run counter, that's all. So here comes all the stragglers that aren't going to be in the game, right? So that's always a crazy one. Oh wow! All right. So you break all these dudes here. You got nothing but well, that's right. You have a stack here. Essentially, he's free there. Now you have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You still have 12 points of units. Yeah, and then he advances right here. Yeah, so that guy would have been DM'd. He would have had to route. So he could have possibly low crawled 1 hex, but it didn't really matter.
And this was T16, Stu, so you needed 12 instead of 10.
Oh, you guys played the T16 one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you needed all of those guys.
That.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so you needed all of them. Yeah, well, even if you needed like 5 at this point, this giant stack right here is, I mean, that's hell. Shit, 2 at this point would have been pretty rough because he's got 3 full squads. 1 can reach out and touch and leave residual, and these other guys got these ones cover residual. That's a rough spot to be in. But you have smoke, right? And yep, that's where your smoke kind of jacked you up right there. Oh, and then the next guy dropped the smoke. So great idea. Great idea. Pop the smoke. It's still gonna block lines of sight to the GG hex row. Not block, but hinder lines of sight to the GG hex row. Versus like here where he could have possibly slid some sort of weird shot. You know, he can't. That's a building. So there or there, very good places to put it. And then you try to make it off. So
Yeah, I think at this point I still had 12 possible, but then after I lose another guy or something, it's like, eh.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Mark just kind of compliments that with a snake eyes right out the gate. So, so you really can't do anything about that. But even the open ground, you moved a guy up here, right? You rallied him. He's over here. You still have potential to get off. Essentially these two units, these 4.36s. The 4.67 is going to be there anyway. But his movement over here, his ability to come over here and kind of pound on you without you actually having to, without actually getting a decent result in this guy, is really difficult, right? Because right in the beginning, you kind of dealt with these guys here, and then right at the end, you broke them at a really critical time where he would just have more firepower. It's just that if you had some more going on over here, that would have been helpful, much more helpful to you. But
Mark beat me, and that's fine.
yeah, and I honestly don't see too much go. I mean, I made a lot more mistakes than you have. This is just the path you chose. You tried to drop smoke. You're dropping smoke where you need to. I mean, you just got to make your die rolls, right? And you still had a number of forces to be able to get off, but that's when we just roll dice, weird things are going to happen. And 7 morale's not the best to deal with, but that's other stuff that we can. Wow, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right. So, okay. So let's back it up just for a second. Again, just to give you options. And I'm sure it won't work because Vasil. Oh, because he's got a smoke there. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't really matter because you roll the smokes. I was thinking about, so if you roll a smoke here, and since you have the 12, you need everybody off anyway. You essentially have to smoke and you have to move. 2, 3, 4, right?
I see. I didn't smoke the first. I mean, I didn't move the first guy after I smoked. I think, and I didn't. I was like, why didn't I move?
I think you rolled a 6 on him, to be honest with you.
Oh, and I couldn't move. Right. That's what
Yeah,
happened.
I think you rolled a 6 on him.
Yep, it was
So,
six.
yeah, if because in this case you kind of need everybody to get off anyway. But if you had an extra guy, you could attempt to smoke here, and then beta shot or something like that, and then again the next guy as well, maybe try and smoke here. But it doesn't really matter at this point. But if you guys have the movement points or movement factors and the ability, just keep trying to keep smoking. But you smoked it best you could. You taking a great shot over here. That was a 12 shot anyway. That's pretty ridiculous shot, but it's a good deal. So, given that, although he rolled a snake eyes, that's going to be a 12 plus 1, right?
Yep.
And you probably did you assault move? Do you remember if you assault moved or not?
I wouldn't have assault moved to F1 because that would have been useless.
Right. So I'm not sure if you regular moved or assault moved, but smoke here, and remember this is a spot that is also affected by smoke. So you could have assault. I don't know if you did, but contemplate because you could always advance off the map. But he could defensive fire. You could smoke, assault move, and then that way it gives you another +1 if you think this guy's going to fire at somebody else.
Well, my dream was to get a smoke here, move 2 and get blasted, or actually CX if I could get off,
Yeah, absolutely.
and smoke here and get off.
Yep.
And then enough points. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a good plan. Smoke, take that one shot that he's going to get, and then your second smoke for the other guy because he'll be subsequent first fired, or he'd be first fired at that point. He fired everybody, and then this guy.
Through the second smoke.
Yeah, and this guy will be out of range, right? Because you have that 3.37 remaining there, so he won't be able to fire on these guys at all. And that's what you want to do, and that's what you want. That's a good plan. So if this guy got off, and let's say this guy gets off, you could move the half squad off. What are you going to do with the hero?
I was thinking you move them here to block the subsequent if you're going to move the other guys, but
Yeah.
So he's first fired here, and let's just say there's just for shits and giggles there's another smoke right here. So he wants to fire at these guys because these guys can do what? Pretty much just go like this, right? And there's nothing this guy can do about it. But if you should happen to move your 149 off for whatever reason, and then this guy sort of order of movement in mind, and then this guy moves. Now he has a free shot. Very much so in the Japanese scenario that we covered last week. Keeping the guys in front to freeze. Essentially, you're freezing this unit. You could actually have the 337. The hell? The 337 as well there. You know, you don't have to move him. And then these guys can still move. It's going to do exactly the same thing. And then the 337 can move later on. But the 149 is actually serves a very good purpose at this point in the game. He's not going to give us any points, but he's going to prevent subsequent shots past him. And like you said, you can move him here. He could take a shot because if he's subsequent for first fires, guess what? He's final fired. And then even if he dies, he can't do anything. So you had a really good chance of going. You had a really good chance of popping this one off. That's not bad at all.
If hero DM'd here, that would still stop further shots.
Well, no, the hero doesn't DM. The hero doesn't break. He just wounds.
Oh, right. Yep,
And
true.
problem is that on that first wound, he can die.
Yeah, this is about my first hero. I didn't know. I didn't understand him too.
No worries. But yeah, I mean, you had a really good chance of getting these guys off. He just happened to, you dropped your smoke. You did what you needed to do. You did the best thing you could do and try and get a guy off. And he just happened to make a really good roll at it. So, especially since Mark was, apprehensive about your setup and your first moves, this essentially is, pretty much all what he had for the game. And that essentially kind of, it pulled him out right at the end. So that's a good deal. But that was pretty close, to be honest with you. Super, super, super close on that one here. Now, if you had the 10 points, I think that was 2. If you had the 10 points, I think you make it, to be honest with you. Because this guy's gone, right? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's 10.
Yeah, I always play to get a game better a month later.
Interesting. There you go. But yeah, so this is the 10 points. You would have gotten off and absolutely. So that very close again. Very close game. Very, very close game. And you notice, these guys over here, no impact. You eliminated most of his force. You only had to deal essentially with 3 to 5 squads. And that's about all the Germans are going to be able to muster anyway, to be honest with you. Is about 3 to 5 squads. Pretty much just about anywhere. So, but great game. Closing thoughts on this one here for you guys? I mean, I know you didn't like losing or whatever the case may be, but super close. I mean, look at it.
Good game.
Super close game. All right, let's switch to the last one. Let's save. And this will be this should be kind of quick. Let's see, where is... Boom. All right, this is Dimitri's and Alexei's game. And I think he went on the right-hand side. Yep. Now let's take a look at the German setup. Oh, he went the same side, but it's the right. Now look at the German setup here. It's very, very similar to Mark's, to be honest with you. Very similar to Mark's. He's got a couple guys on the flanks here. He's got kind of a stack here, one guy here. Very similar setup. But he's got a bunch of, even if these are all dummies, I'm still not going over there. He just kind of locked that whole side down. And so it's just a matter of how many guys he can get to come on this side. And let's see what happens in this case. Let me flip this on the other side. Zoom in a little bit. Here we go. So all concealed off board. Now, as the Americans, what's your perspective on what the Germans might have here? As your attack, when you selected this side, what do you guys anticipate being in these locations? Do you care? Do you just kind of have an idea? Where, this one's probably a real unit, right? Because it covers the open ground. Probably a real unit. Could be a dummy. Could be a dummy. Could be a dummy. We don't know. We don't know about these guys over here. I would suspect this guy to be a dummy, maybe.
I think a leader and I think it's only 2. Well, I'd expect a little machine gun anyway.
All right. So I'm expecting one of these guys to maybe to be a dummy. I don't know, but I know this guy's got to be real. He's got to be real. He's got to cover that flank side. Oh, okay. So now here, obviously the 149 loses concealment. So the all he has to do is show that he's he's a real unit instead of a dummy. So the 149 would have lost concealment here, and then he could move up, and this guy could just kind of ignore him at that point, because he's not a victory point. But I guess he just kills him straight out. Right, he gets a morale check, fails a morale check, and his wound die roll is a 6. So the hero's just gone with the first fire shot, and tons of residual firepower. And the benefit of that, he still has range because no one's next to him. And yeah, we did have a dummy here. We did have a dummy right there. Now again, when he moves, one of these guys could reveal. This guy can't see him, but this guy could put temporarily. Actually, he 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's out of line of sight. But this guy could temporarily reveal to make him lose his concealment. Because if he advances, that's going to be huge because he'll be able to keep his concealment. These guys are just losing concealments because of the 447 on the right hand side, and that forces him to take that shot there. Oh, he's fired. Both leaders right there. Okay, as the American player, where's this guy going to route to? Although this is the advanced fire phase, where's this guy going to route? Yep. 2. He could potentially go to EE7 too. Right. 2-4.
Yep.
Because this guy's no longer in line of sight in the beginning of the route phase.
All right. Yeah.
And so you have that option to go to EE7. And the option is yours. Whatever. This guy's probably going to break this guy. It's a lot of firepower. So if he breaks him, then he can go stack with the 8-1. Yeah, he does break him. And that's exactly what he does. He advances right over there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. And again, the German doesn't have to move here because he's getting closer to enemy unit. Even if the American didn't route first, he could then ignore that location because it's not getting any further away from the American unit. And so he chooses to route across the road. Jumps him in melee. Oh, it's maybe his casualty reduced. To tie him up, definitely for sure to tie him up. And we got that flanking force on this left-hand side that's taking a pounding, it looks like. What's he got? 7. Oh, it's probably loose concealment. All right. You need to start moving over. German turn 1. Maybe CR to be in close combat. DM's the unit up to the right, top right side, which is great. This unit here can avoid the melee and just, I think he's right here. So 1, 3, 6. You can avoid this. You can avoid these. Actually 1, 3. Yeah, once he goes backwards, actually he can go 1, 2, 3. He might have to go here because he's only 2 away from him here, and this would be 5 movement points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This actually might be his destination, oddly enough. But that's fine. I mean, we miss things every once in a while. Great idea trying to get him over here. Actually, he kept his wall of edge, so that's cool. But yeah, it's that might be stick him over there. But again, the 447 can only really fire at one of them. And
okay. I'm sorry, Stu. I've got to get going. So
all right.
Good night, everyone.
No worries. Take care, Mark.
Yep. Bye.
So he does rally that unit, and now he's active. And we have 2, 3, 3, 7 just moving our way up. Again, probably debate shots. And this guy's broken on the right-hand side, dropping smoke, advancing down the road. Maybe this guy's a dummy. I don't know. He hasn't quite fired yet. Maybe he's not. Oh, no, 467. Takes a shot, no effect. And now the Germans are in big trouble, right? There's nobody left.
Hey, Stu, does Mark have a channel?
Mark D?
Mark D just left?
What do you mean has a channel? What does that mean?
Like on YouTube about ASL?
I don't know. He might. I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right. I just thought maybe you knew. Thanks.
No, I don't know. You mean Mark D?
Yeah.
No, he's an experienced player. He knows a lot. He knows more about SK than I do.
Right. Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah. And then broken guys. I'm not sure how much he's got over here, but again, he's got a couple broken units. He had 2 units on this side. American firepower just kind of overwhelms him. He's got a flanking force of 337s or casual reducer squads, essentially just targets that he has to fire at. And unfortunately for the Germans, he can't quite react fast enough to that, because if this unit starts to move, then these units can take the 2-2 shots. You know, a couple 2-2 shots are really going to pin him down. So pretty much this is just a kind of, this is more than anything just a rout on the Americans' aspect. And it just goes to show you that I think a lot of times in this scenario, you can have setups that might just be essentially really tough to overcome right at the beginning. Well, I don't know, maybe the German thought that the Wheatfield would slow him up enough for him to get over there. But I like the 337s hugging the wall over here. All this is +1 terrain. You know, it's not stone buildings, but it's +1 terrain against units that are 4 even, 4 up 1. You know, if you assault move, those are good shots. And he has to get low a couple times, and you just use the rest of the force to overwhelm these other guys, which he did. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. So yeah, he smoked and just ran straight down the road as fast as he can. Didn't bother to do anything with this guy. That's not the objective. The objective is to get off. He DM'd him, and then he's gone at that point. So that was turn 3. So he didn't need the turn 4 to get off. But hey, that's what happens. You know, if you have a couple shots, the 467 was here, covering the road for the most part. But you know, he dropped the smoke, and everyone kind of used the smoke to get through it. And with the 337s in front, he's getting 1 shot. And I think he took 1 shot over here at EE5, and you know, rolled something like 8 or 9 or something like that. And that's just not going to be high enough. And then he's just stuck at staring at 337s the rest of the game. The guy just kind of ran behind him. So quick scenario in that aspect. Again, a definite advantages of flanks. You know, selecting a flank over the essentially really populated left-hand flank over here, and then also the center portion here, where he probably could have pulled all these guys from the left-hand side to crush him. So for all intents and purposes, the Americans only had one aspect to go through. He was kind of forced to go this way. And if he makes a couple movement errors or doesn't cover his flank, then this could be a completely different result. So I do like the 337 kind of wall that he had here. So I like that. I like that a lot. But any questions on this one? Again, this one's really different from our other scenarios that we had here. You know,
I was a little surprised he never moved this guy, but I guess you got to make a decision. Do I shoot down the lane, or do I try to get here?
Right. That's a tough point. You know, he could have possibly shifted the X8 unit over here. I mean, that's a possibility, and try to get him over here. I think he had a 337 this way. Maybe he didn't want to take a 1-2 shot. I mean, it's possible. I don't know, but yeah. But maybe he was restricted to this thing. You know, if I move him back, then the Americans certainly get a free lane. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's at least DD5. That's still pretty, like you say, it's still pretty rough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then advance. But yeah, that's a tough choice to make. But once he lost these guys early on, I think you're forced into doing that, right, Mark? Yep. I don't care what's shooting at you. You have to be able to cover that off-board movement, because you know that's all he's going to do is just kind of run off the board, and your other guys just can't make it. And so you know, it's unfortunate. I think, just like I said, he just had the one dummy over here. But yeah, pretty crazy scenario. And so, but that's all I have here. I mean, I thank all the players that especially Mark, since he was involved in 2 of the games. So that's a good deal. Without Mark, we'd only have this one game. So but yeah, very quick, dirty scenario, pretty simple victory conditions. But you saw, I mean, even this was the exact same side that you guys chose, and it's completely different outcome, right? Completely different outcome. And it's just based upon the decisions you have to make. You threw 3 guys in the back that could get there, and I'm not sure who the defender was here, but the German player chose to try and cover the road, which is an option, or try and get a guy back there. And could that made a difference? Maybe, but the 337s may have been able to run down the road, and that might have made a difference of one guy breaking or something like that. But that's tough. I think he was in a tough pickle right at the beginning. He got that hero pretty early on, which was a good benefit to him. But after that, he just didn't. The follow-up attack by the giant stack kind of spelled that guy's filled that guy's fate card for him, unfortunately. So, and what do you guys think about these stone buildings right here, CC5 and BB6? What are you guys' perception on those in terms of defensible positions? Just kind of curious. I mean, they look great, right?
Yeah, I was thinking this one's tough.
Yeah. Nowhere to
This
route
one's
to.
better.
Nowhere to route.
Yeah. This one's nowhere route to. But do you want to give the Americans a stone building? I don't know. I mean, that's rough. If you want to cede this building to the Americans, you really can't sit here and fight at him. He just defensive fires at you and blasts you away. At that point, you'd have to kind of make your way back there. It's really interesting. One thought that I had on this one here, maybe set up a couple dummy units, both your dummy units on this side, and maybe like a German 436 43 a guy right here, and maybe like a guy here, probably not right here, but on the edge, maybe in DD1, and then just entrench him at the beginning of the game. You probably have one entrenchment roll. You probably have to put a guy up here just to slow the Americans down, but you might have one entrenchment roll before you get killed. I don't know if it's worth it, but it would tie these together, and then you could possibly get some units up over in there. But there's so much open ground. It's just, and the buildings are so small. It's like there's no place that he can't see, and so it makes it really tough once you get in this corner. But if you keep the Germans out of the wheat field, I think you have a really good chance. But yeah, other than that, any other comments on any of the games we covered, gentlemen?
Stu, I just had a question on. I didn't understand the comments on the YouTube strategy of this about the hero and the fire lane.
Oh, right.
I thought you could do it,
right,
and it would be full firepower, but maybe not.
Well, that's the question, right? Is there's really no definition of fully manned, and that's the problem. Is fully manned, you would think, well, the first thing you would think is full fire, because he operates it as if he were 2 men, right? And 2 single man counters fully man a machine gun. So why? I mean, is it fully manned? Or is it not fully manned? So where does that definition come from, or where does that explanation come from? It's not really clarified anywhere, to be honest with you. He gets a +1 because he's firing by himself, but his -1 cancels that. But he still gets to fire at full firepower. He still gets rate of fire. So I don't see, personally, I don't see any reason why a hero couldn't fire lane a machine gun, because the definition of fully manned just isn't there. It says 2 single man counters, but he acts as 2 single man counters. It specifically states that in the rules. He acts as if he's 2 single man counters firing the machine gun.
Right,
So,
like you say, Stu, don't read what's not there.
right, but if there's nothing there, then you have to make assumptions. I'm having the same thing with the term NCC, and based upon somebody else's question on leader loss morale checks and units being in CC, because if you're in CC, you don't take leader loss morale checks or leader loss task checks. Problem is, it doesn't say it's in melee. In CC and melee are 2 different things. In CC, does that mean you're marked with a CC counter? Well, if it's not, then it means you're in melee. So why wouldn't it be written in melee versus in CC? So I don't know why. If the distinction is to exclude being marked with a CC counter, which If you're marked with a CC counter, you're in close proximity to a unit. If you're reaction firing against a tank, you get marked with a CC counter. If units enter your location, whether it be cavalry, berserk units, bonsai units, human wave units, if they enter your location, marked with a CC counter. Are you not, I mean, considering everything's kind of simultaneous, are you not then considered in close proximity and now are going to engage in close combat? Right? That's the concept that I'm trying to understand is, even though you can make a close combat reaction fire, a close combat attack versus a vehicle, from their perspective, from Perry's perspective, he's not in CC. But yet you conducted a close combat attack. So that doesn't make any sense. You're not in melee, of course, but melee is a different condition. Melee is a different condition, and some things allow, sometimes you're in close combat. Like if I have a concealed unit, right? If these units jump me, and I'm there, and I choose not to attack, there's not a melee counter there. You do not place a melee counter. If I can find it, there it is. You don't place a melee counter. If I choose not to attack, then you want to attack me, right? Same with squad. I don't want to lose my concealment. I'll let you attack me. No melee counter. So the question then becomes, if a unit is, if someone gets, in this case, if he gets attacked, he's going to lose his concealment anyway, but which would then mark him in melee. But if he's not in melee, if something weird happens that the leader dies or whatever, then is he excluded from a leader loss morale check? Well, their answer is no, because you're not in melee, because this is not melee, but you're in CC. And this is exactly the same condition as if you have a whole bunch of bonsai units, that are attacking you, and let's say this guy for whatever reason was berserk and entered your location, but you mark with a CC. Exactly the same condition. So is that guy in CC or not? Apparently the answer is no, he's not in CC, even though he has a CC counter. So, and yet they have distinctions in another section where it specifically states in melee, right? For having bad things happen, for effects to happen to you, you have to be in melee and not in CC. So they make distinctions through the rule book between CC and melee. But if the point is in CC means in melee, why not just write in melee? And there's got to be a reason for it. I don't know what it is, but I just don't know where that would come into play. Where being in CC, essentially synonymous or the exact same thing as in melee, would make a difference apart from the melee. I don't see it. I don't know where it is. And so
how do you lose a leader, Stu, in close combat other than from somebody shooting into a melee?
I don't know.
Because isn't a leader paired with a squad?
Oh, you could have a sniper shot, right? Sniper shot, shoot a guy in there, so the other units, I don't think, lose their concealment because they're not actually being attacked. DM units become DM'd, but they're not subject to that attack. I'm not sure if, quote, all the units are attacked with a successful melee. Like, if you have a concealment right here, like on the top, L3, let's see, you got 3 units in that location. The sniper has to select one of those units. It selects the top unit. Do all of them lose concealment? Well, only one unit was attacked. Or do you consider that location to be attacked? Or that hex? Because technically the sniper attacks the hex, right? You can have these guys here, right? Some guys at level 1, this guy at level 1, and another guy at level 2, he gets to select among everyone in the hex. So if the middle guy gets attacked, let's say he gets broken or whatever, he loses concealment. Does everyone else lose their concealment? It might be location. Like if you're in a location attacked by them, then you might lose concealment. But the only thing I've seen, I haven't delved too far into it, the only thing I've seen is if you're attacked by a sniper, you lose concealment. which makes sense because he has to see you, and you are getting an effect. Essentially, the 2 on the sniper die roll is essentially a pin result, which would lose concealment. And the 1 on the dice roll is essentially causing you to, quote, fail a morale check and break, which then you would lose concealment as well. So either way, the essential effects are causes to lose concealment. But do these other units lose concealment? You know, my answer would be no. I might be wrong, but my answer would be no because they're not in that location. But again, was the 467 attacked? If he attacked the bottom and he attacked the half squad on the bottom, and not the squad and a leader above him, are the other guys unconcealed? I don't know, I have to look that up. But
Well, you would think you'd be right, Stu, because a sniper is a sniper, not a machine gun.
right. And so I would think it would only cause the 1 unit to lose concealment. Otherwise, it would. Again, I might be wrong. I have to look it up, look at the terminology. But that's one way of killing a leader in melee, and then or other units can fire. Because once you get a morale check on a concealed stack, right, then they lose the concealment, and then they immediately be locked in melee, and therefore exempt from leader lost morale check task checks. But the sniper popping them off as you're still concealed would be one of those instances, in my opinion. I may be wrong, and they might all lose concealment, but I've looked it up a couple times, and I don't think I've come to that conclusion. Again, I could be completely wrong on that, but well, that's just things I think of. I try to think of situations where the rules state something. You get a +1 TEM for being under a tank in crest status or something like that. I'm reading chapter F right now, and so it's like, okay, when the hell would that apply? Based upon the restrictions, it's like there's only like 2 vague instances it would apply. So I'm not sure why even bother with, I guess they got to cover all the bases, but yeah, it's really odd. Why not just say, this modifier only applies when these 2 things happen, instead of making you try to figure out when the hell those instances are. It would just be easier just to point those instances out. And if something comes down the line when they make a new rule, then someone would eventually find out, hey, what about this? And then you just make a change to the rule. Change terminology. But so sometimes you scratch your head, because when you're reading a rule for 20 minutes and you're trying to figure it out, it's like, well, you don't really need to figure it out, because it will usually 99% of the time never ever apply. So why am I wasting my time reading a 500-page rule book, paragraph after paragraph, which never come into play? And but that's just our hobby, right? Or that's just what you sign up for when you come to, or just say screw it, I'm not gonna worry about it. I mean, there's that, instead of having to think of a rule the whole time, and the one scenario that you play in desert might have something in it. But I like to try and figure out how the rule applies, and okay, well, their example shows me moving this way. Okay, what happens if I move that way? The example kind of doesn't cover that aspect of it. And when I approach the rule books and trying to decipher the rules, I try to think of situations that the examples really don't explain. And so because a lot of times the samples are, most of the time the examples are very simplistic, which they should be, just to exemplify a rule. But I would much rather have, a simplistic portion, and then, take the time, show me like a really kind of awkward, weird way to read the rule on this aspect there. And they did that with the routing rules, right? They showed the guy routing in the woods. They showed a guy routing away from 2 squads, and now he's moving adjacent to another squad, which moves away there. And I know some guys that, the example in that thing there shows one specific thing, but they talk about how, you can't move towards an enemy unit because he's a known enemy unit. Well, he's not known to you, to the broken unit, because he's not in line of sight to you. And that's the one thing they keep forgetting, is he has to be in line of sight. I could route this unit here. There could be an enemy unit right here, right? And I could route here and then go upstairs and then route over here if I wanted to. I'm moving closer to an enemy unit, but he's not known to this unit. He's a known enemy unit, but he's not known to this unit in terms of routing. And that's the little subtleties of some of the rules come out. And people think, well, no, you can't route towards him because he's a known unit, so you got to route somewhere over here. or a route over here, and that causes, you know, you gotta essentially, like I say, tear some of the rules apart and think of situations that happens and try and compare, you know, other players you play with, how they route, you know, just getting in discussions like we have, trying to figure out the rules on how they apply to certain situations. And game situations are the best situations. You know, thinking of a situation can be very difficult, but
If this was an infantry unit and broken, how would that change that route?
won't change it whatsoever. Because
So you can't route closer to a broken enemy unit.
right, because
or
he's
adjacent
a
to-
known enemy unit. Yeah, he's a known enemy
Oh.
unit. It doesn't say unbroken. Doesn't say unbroken. He's a known enemy unit. Now
No, I meant if this guy was broken.
right,
So
if he
it
break
was a squad.
right, yeah, it doesn't matter who he is, full squad,
Okay.
whatever. So in this case, this unit, if he's broken, he could route here, and hell, he could even route here, and then he could stop
So we can't. Okay, yeah, okay.
because he's not remaining adjacent to an unbroken enemy unit. He just right here in this situation, he just can't route towards him because now he's in his line of sight at any time, even if he's down here or right here. Well, right there, he's not in the line of sight, but he could route here. Now he's on his line of sight. Now he can't move adjacent to him. He'd have to go somewhere
I
else.
do better at picture sometimes, so a DM can move next to a DM enemy.
As long as he's not in the line of sight initially, like if he's DM'd here, right, he could route here legally and stay there, and they could stay there ad infinitum. But if he was
in J7, no.
right, but if he was right here, he couldn't route there because now he's moving closer to an enemy unit, a known enemy unit.
Okay.
Right, and that's where the concealment came up in my game. If this guy was concealed, right, you can route there. And if he was, and then what happens is once he routes there, he can lose his concealment. Let's say, okay, now I'm going to lose my concealment. Now I'm going to force you to continue to route. And then this unit has to continue to route. And if he can't continue to route, then he's eliminated for failure to route.
Ooh. So if he's at 6 movement points there, he'd be dead.
He'd be dead. Right. One thing you could do, though.
Well, still working on the route stuff. This is good.
Yeah, one thing you could do, though, and I did this in one of my games, is there's like a concealed unit here. Let's say I had a real unit right here, right? It's like I really want to jump into close combat with this guy, right? But he's -2. He's going to ambush me. Bad news happens, right? Let's say this was just all. You know, let's say it was something like this, right? Let's say the situation like this. So we're going to route here, and I'm going to route into that location. I can route in this location. What's going to happen? He's going to reveal a real unit, right? It's going to force me to bounce back. And what happens to this broken unit? FTR. But what did I just do?
Killed him.
Well,
You just took away the advantage in close combat.
right. The whole point was giving up a half squad. Let's assume this is a full squad. Now, I've got an equal chance of trying to ambush this guy. Otherwise, if he ambushes me, he could just run away. If I need to kill him for whatever reason, part of the victory conditions, you know, I could definitely do something like this. And he lost his concealment. I'm willing to give up a half squad for this to happen. In some situations, that can win or lose a game. You know, lose a half squad, who cares? This guy's not going to rally anyway, right? If he moves here, this guy's going to fire probably on him or jump him in close combat. This guy's going to get DM'd anyway. He's never going to rally. So use him to lose concealment, and then you could use the next guy or move guys up. You know, at that point, well, yeah, they'd have to be adjacent already, right? Because it's going to be the advanced phase. And then he can go there. And he won't expect that. They won't expect you throwing a unit away to do that.
Okay, I got a question, a concealment question.
All right.
447 is concealed, and the American advances into here. And now we're in close combat. Now the German can choose to not fire.
Is that a question?
Yes.
Yes, he could choose not to fire.
Okay, so he can just sit there and go with half and suck it up, but you would still have to show your unit to take.
Yeah, you have to show the strength of the unit, right? Well, yeah.
Right.
But you don't lose concealment.
Right.
All right. You still have to show that's a real unit. Right. So why would you do?
Okay,
Why
that
would you want to do that? And what marker would you use for that at the end of the close combat phase?
Well, I guess it's not melee.
Right. PCC.
Yeah.
Which
close
means these
combat.
guys aren't locked in melee, right? Which means the German unit can just move out next turn. Or
Oh, that's the advantage of that
Oh.
for one of them.
or what else could he do? Especially like let's say he's in the woods. Or Orchard Hex for that matter. Let's go Orchard. I did this in one of my other games. Let's say you don't attack, which means this is going to be what's first of all, what would the American's a strong unit, right? So what would the firepower of the American unit be against you in close combat?
2.
Well, 3.5, right? It'd be
Oh, okay.
you got to keep it fractions close. 3.5 to 4 is 1 to 2. Even if it was 2, it'd still be 1 to 2. So he's got a 1 to 2 against you. So he needs to roll a 4 for an effect, right? Right. If you attacked him for whatever reason, and I'm doing this more now than I've where the hell is a unit?
And would there would have not have been an ambush roll?
There would have been an ambush roll. Absolutely.
If you're in a building in K8, would there have been an ambush roll?
Anytime you're in a building or woods, there's an ambush roll.
Okay.
Or against a concealed unit, regardless of the location of the concealed unit. The concealed unit can be in open ground, and when this unit advances onto him in open ground, that's an ambush roll.
Okay.
But what? Let's take for the advantage right here. Let's say this was the case here, and let's say there's no ambush. What does the American need to? I wish there's. What does the American? We're going to assume it's a 467. And what does the American need to kill you in close combat? If you do not attack.
The American to kill the German?
Right, to outright kill him.
Well, there's a 1 on the 4 chart or a 2 on the 6 chart.
No. This is close combat.
It's a 1 to 2, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
Sorry,
4.
Yeah, it's a 1 to 2. So he needs a 4 for casualty reduction.
Sorry.
Right. And if he gets a casual reduction, he would lose his concealment, unfortunately. And then he would be locked in melee, but he gave up his attack because then you can't choose to attack because it's simultaneous. So essentially you're giving up your attack. But he needs to roll 4. And that's a 1 to 2 attack. If we attacked him, what do we need to damage him? If we said, screw it, let's go close combat, I'm attacking the 747 or 666 or 548, whatever the case may be, I'm at 1 to 2. So I need a 4. Right? I need a 4 for a result. And when I attack him, I lose my concealment. What does he need now for a result against me?
4 to 7, 1 to 2, 4.
No, if I attack him, I lose concealment. He no longer has half firepower.
The American attacked the German.
Right.
7 to 4, so that's 1. So it's a 5. So it's an outright 4 to kill and 5 to casualty reduce.
No, 7 to 4? What are the odds at 7 to 4?
Not 3 to. Is it? It's not
3 to 2, yeah.
It's 3 to 2.
3.5 to 2.
So he goes from a 1 to 2, from a 4 to a 6 for a result.
Yeah.
And you're still at 4. You still got the shit result of 4. So what I do is keep the concealment, especially if you ambush him. It's like, you're still at 1 to 2, right? So you need to roll a 5 to CR him. Now keep in mind what I need to roll, right? Keep in mind, I need to roll, even if I ambush him, I need a 5 for a casualty reduction of 4 for a kill. Right? Because I'm at 1 to 2. And that's the kicker. Let's say I don't attack him, and he misses his 1 to 2 attack. Let's see what his close combat roll is. It's 8, average roll. So he's not in melee. Neither am I. And that was his turn. He advanced upon me. Right? If you advance upon him, the point of you advancing upon him is to ambush him and kill him in close combat. Not to just kind of whatever. Or ambush him and move the hell out if you do ambush him. But we're not going to go into that. I'm just going into the odds. So now we're in the same location, right? We're in the same hex, and it's my turn. What can I do in my turn?
You can triple point blank fire.
Yeah,
No.
I can prep fire against him and triple point blank fire. What's that attack going to be at? What's that attack?
16?
Not
No,
triple.
20.
Triple. No. The German. The German chooses not to
the German,
attack.
oh, 8.
12.
12 firepower. So
12. Jesus.
we roll 12 firepower. Let's say we get a 7. That's a 1 morale check. All right. He has to roll a 6 to be pinned. A 6 is a pin. 7 or higher is a break. If he breaks, well, as soon as we fire, the result happens, and then we're in melee. So he can't fire back. Right? So if he breaks, what's going to happen in close combat phase? What's going to happen in the close combat phase? What does he have to do? A broken unit in melee. What does he have to do?
Isn't it a -2 for a broken unit?
Right, but what does he have to do in ASL? He has to withdraw from melee.
Yeah.
So I don't care where he goes. He has to get out. So, looking at the withdraw from melee chart, that's close to dice roll modifiers, -2 to withdraw, -2 and he's broken. Now we have -4 to the dice roll. So now we're still at 1 to 2. But now we have a -4 on the roll. What do we need to kill this unit now?
7?
A 7's a straight up kill. A 7 is a straight up kill at a 1 to 2 chart. Right? So, the advantage of not giving yourself up, because if we attack him initially, he has the advantage from the point go. Our concealment is meaningless at that point. So I take the chance, especially if he's 1 to 2, because let's say if he has, even if he has 2 squad, let's see 2 regular squad, not the American, because the Americans have shitloads of firepower, but it works really, really well against like two enemy squads, like 447s, right? So now they're at 1 to 1, and that's a 5. So what? So even if he misses a 5, which is easy to miss, right? 7, it's an easy miss. But the coming back shot, if he had 2 squads, let me get 2 squads here. Let me get some brushed squads. Right. So even if he had 2 squads, right? Let me get rid of all this other shit. If you had 2 squads in this location and you had concealment. Get all this crap out of the way. Right? What are his odds then?
The Russian attacker?
Right. If we keep our concealment, no ambush, he just attacks us. And we say, well, I'm not going to attack, we just keep my concealment.
Be half at 4, right?
Yeah. So
and then you'd have to see the enemy unit.
Right, 4 to 4, right? Because I'd be over here. Oh, I'm not sure why it didn't come out. Oh, because it's not my concealment. So 4 to 4. 1 to 1 odds. He needs a 5. Remember, there's 2 units in now. Not just 1 unit, 2 units. Now check the effect on this. And let's say he misses. Hopefully it's a miss. That's a kill. The 12, it doesn't really matter because, whatever. We can withdraw, but we're not going to. The whole point of keeping concealment is prep fire phase. We fire. 12 firepower. We roll the attack. Well, 4 would actually be fantastic because that'd be a 3 morale check. And if both these guys break, let's take this instance. Both these guys break. We go into melee because they're in the hex. The close combat turns into melee. Now, he has to do what in the close combat phase? He has to get the hell out of dodge. He can't do it in the route phase because he's in melee. He has to withdraw close combat. Now, what are the odds against him? Let's say we attack 1 guy. What's the odds?
1 to 1 minus 4. -2?
Nope. 2 for broken, 2 for withdrawing.
Oh, right. Broken. Yeah.
So 1 to 1
-4.
-4, which means you need a 9 for CR, 8 for straight up kill, or we could attack them both at 1 to 2 with a -4. We need a 7 for kill to kill 2 units.
Yeah.
The risk versus reward is just out of the world. Out of this world. If you drop concealment first and you attack that 747, you're just giving up your advantage. Because he has 7 morale. Can he sustain? Now, if you're a +3 building, even if you're in a +3 building, you would need if you roll a 6, it'll get a morale check on him, right? Then he has to roll a morale check. You needed a 4 for CR before. If you rolled a 4 on the 12th chart in a stone building, that'd be a 1 morale check, which makes it even better, which was what you needed to CR him in the first instance. So the idea is if you triple point blank fire and you break him, he is screwed. Because it's your turn, and guess what? Guess what you could do? Let's say he had 3 squads in here. Say, I can't really kill all 3 of them. What can you do as the Germans during your turn? Right? You do this in prep fire phase. He's prep fire. What can you do during your turn as the Germans? Bring somebody else along. Assault move. Advanced phase of close combat. He has to withdraw close combat. Now you've got more firepower to kill more units. Because he has to withdraw. He's leaving anyway. You're not going to be locked in close combat. He has to leave. And now you have 8 firepower versus 12, which is still 1 to 2. Now you got, instead of 1 to 4, you pop it back up to 1 to 2. Or you go 1 to 1 against 2 squads. You just let one guy go. Maybe one's a half squad or some shit like that. But if he's got a leader in there, broken leader, you definitely probably want to try and move some guys up in there and increase the odds to kill that guy. Or at least attack that one squad with the leader. So the chance of kills is skyrocketing when you drop concealment after. But you've got to have the balls to take that shot. Right? But is it really that scary to take that shot? He needs a 5. It's just like you moving. It's just like you moving, right? What's so scary about it? Is my question. Let's say this unit's right here. And we're just moving. We're just going to move right here. Non-assault movement. He fires at us. What's he need for an effect? Non-assault movement.
Building.
Right, non-assault movies. We're just moving right here. The 467 shoots at us. We're going boom, boom. He first fires.
+1 for the wall. Yeah. I mean the hedge.
Right, but we're not assault moving, right? So it's -1.
Oh, I'm sorry. This guy moved from here to here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Either way. Yeah, either way. He gets shot at by this guy. Essentially, there's no modifiers. What's he need for an effect?
4.
He's 7 for pin, 6 for morale check.
Yeah, 6 would be nice.
Right? This attack is more effective than our close combat attack if we want to attack that 747. Well, the 747 went up. Right? So you have no problem taking that shot. Right? And he's got no problem moving there. He's willing to risk a 6 for a result. Right? But think of the close combat perspective. These 2 guys jump in close combat, neither one is DM, of course. Right? You keep your concealment. He needs a 5. And that's for CR. So you need a 6 here, which everyone is willing to take. He has a less chance of affecting you. But on the backside, even if that's a stone building, 12 plus 3, you need a 6. Which is the same result as you would over here if one guy was moving. You need a 6 for a morale check. But the problem is if you break these guys, they are more than likely, higher percentage chance these guys will just simply die. Because they have to withdraw from close combat. And they will get killed from all the modifiers that you're going to put upon them.
I think maybe one tough decision is if you're concealed and you ambush, do you withdraw or do you fire?
Right.
Because if you kill, you keep your concealment, right?
Correct. But if he's got multiple
So-
units, it's more difficult to do, right? If he's got one unit,
Yeah.
it's still kind of tough to do, even with an ambush. Now, if you had a leader, 9-1, now you got -2, and if you CX, it's -3. All it depends on what the modifiers are. But, I need to have a 7 or an 8 for me to really deal with that. Again, are you attacking him? Is he attacking you? Can you just walk through him? Like, let's say the situation were this. Let's say we have to exit the board or whatever the case may be. These guys are here, and you're concealed here, or like this, even better like this. So you're concealed here. You advance in, and you want to get to a unit over here. You want to get over here because you got reinforcements coming on, or some bullshit like that, right? Go for here. If you ambush him, you can immediately withdraw, and nothing happens. And now you're at the position. If you need to get through him, that's one thing you can do to get better angle over here. A lot of times that can happen, like in woods, right? If you're in a woods location,
Ambush would have been Snake Eyes.
what do you mean snake eyes?
Well, when this guy moved into here and there was an ambush and you were successful, does that mean you got Snake Eyes to get out of there?
No, that's infiltration. That's different. Just ambush. If you ambush a unit, it's unlike Starter Kit. If you ambush a unit, you can just withdraw from close combat. You can just withdraw. Gone. Either side. If I go into here and the Russians ambush the Germans, he could simply withdraw, and they can withdraw to separate locations.
So to anywhere, regardless of enemy units, as long as they're not in that hex.
But yeah, they can't jump into like another melee.
Right. Okay.
And if they jump into a location that has a hidden enemy unit, they're eliminated at that point.
Ooh.
So, but most of the time, it's not going to be a factor. Every once in a while it might be. Like maybe it's a Japanese. But, that's the way it could do. But you're talking about infiltration. So it's Snake Eyes means you can withdraw. 12 means he can withdraw. If you get an ambush, just whoever ambushes that person can withdraw in ASL.
Snake Eyes, the attacker withdraws. 12, the defender withdraws.
Well, either way.
Yeah.
Because
Either way.
if the defender rolls a Snake Eyes, he can still withdraw.
Oh, so Snake Eyes and 12.
Right.
Okay.
So if this unit jumps into your hex, I ambush you and I attack, and I roll Snake Eyes, more than likely you're dead and I can withdraw.
Yeah.
But if I don't kill you, I lose my concealment, and then you roll a 12 on me, I could withdraw again. I just didn't exercise my withdrawal capabilities on the ambush. Well, actually, you could do that as well. Is if I ambush you, attack you, and I attack you, I have to survive all back, fire coming back at me, and then I can withdraw. But if I don't kill you, you can still attack me. But I still have the option of getting the hell out of dodge, which is what I did in Mark's game. I think we attacked, and then my guy chose to withdraw anyway.
Good stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, read those sections. Very powerful. But the one thing that I really like is keeping your concealment. Especially if you're like in woods, or something else. It's got low TEM. Building, maybe not. Maybe you're 548. I don't know. You're gonna have a 12 firepower shot, so that's what you're looking at. So this is a 12 firepower plus 1. You need an 8 for a morale check. And if either one of these guys breaks, you're attacking the broken unit when you withdraw from close combat to try and get a kill. The kill percentages go skyrocketing against broken units. That'd be a -3 against the broken unit. If one guy broke, you just attack the broken unit. Because you're just looking for kill. You don't give a shit about the guy remaining. He's trying to withdraw over here. You go for the roll. Close combat, boom, he's gone. He's dead, his buddy remains. You're in melee at that point, but you don't care. Because you killed a guy. You killed a unit. And now, it's mano a mano. But you had the advantage first when you blitzed him 12 plus 1. With a simple 7 roll, gets a 1 morale check. Simple 7, which you're going to roll most of the time. And these guys have to... even if you roll 6s, right? What happens then? These guys are pinned. So he's going to have a 1-to-1 if they both pin. He has to roll two 6s to pin. He's got to roll 5 to pass it. Otherwise, they're pinned. And so therefore, it's going to turn into a 1-to-1 anyway. So, but you're giving up that triple point blank fire. But again, you have to know it's okay. you are taking a risk that you don't get attacked back. But honestly, I mean, how many times do you roll a 4 close combat anyway in the first roll? Not very often.
Right.
But the 12's a free shot. That 12 plus 1, I would take a 12 plus 1 any day of the week. Any day of the week. Now, if he's got a -2 leader, something like that, yeah, you probably want to go 1 to 2 against the leader. Right? But that's the danger of taking leaders into close combat, is he can get lucky. I try not to take any leaders in close combat unless he changes the odds, because otherwise you could possibly throw a leader away, especially if it's like a Russian leader or a minor allied leader, which they're much more valuable in doing something else. And just throw a squad like you see all the time. Guys are throwing half squads in close combat just to tie them up. You don't care if they die; they're going to die. 1 to 2. Your attack's 1 to 2. His is probably only 1 to 1 anyway. But it doesn't matter. You're there to tie him up, not to really kill him. So, but that's it's just something I've been trying to use more often if the situation presents itself, and I simply won't attack. That's another way to hold your fire. If he's assault moving right here, and then he assault moves this guy, he's going to advance fire. It's going to be a 4 plus 1. Let's say he rolls a 7, which is going to be a miss, and then advances to close combat. Well, then you got to, again, bite, grip it down and not fire back. And then in your prep fire, then you make him pay. Because you're probably not gonna break him here at 8+3, right? You're probably not. What do you need for 8+3? You need a 5 for a morale check.
Yeah.
What do you need to kill him when you're 12, 12 plus 1? You need an 8 for a morale check, and then you get to kill him when he leaves. And most likely you are going to kill one of those guys. It's much more. It's just a delayed. You just got to dodge that one shot. That one shot, and that's it. And then you're golden. It's.
So, am I of the opinion that most of the time, when you're concealed and someone moves in general, you don't shoot at them?
Like I said, it depends.
Yeah, it depends, but generally, it sounds like it's better to wait.
Yeah. Now, if you ambush him and you have a -1 leader, again, I don't like just the -1. The -2 is going to be much better, because if you ambush him and you kill him, you don't lose concealment. That's the kicker. But if you're at 1 to 2, you'd have to kill them. You'd have to kill them both pretty much, and then, you'd have to roll a 3. I mean, that's not going to happen. I'd much rather keep the concealment and blast them triple point blank fire. You just have to roll too low. You're usually always going to be at 1 to 2. You just have to roll way too low for that really have an effect. Even with the -1, you still need a 5 for CR, and then you lose your concealment, which then you're giving up your 12 firepower plus 1. Again, it depends on your terrain you're in.
I can see, depending on what any supporting units are, would depend on whether you use your ambush or your concealment or
Correct.
not. Yeah.
Correct. Like if you had another guy over here, and you had a half squad over here, or something like that, some other guy over here, and there's nothing else that they need to do, but they're just kind of like solo. They really can't do anything by themselves. Once you make that attack, you lose concealment, you're in melee. And these guys assault move advance phase. And then another guy assault moves advance phase. And then you can just add people in there, whatever you need. I wouldn't add too many guys, because even if once they die, if he could like roll up a tank, now you got 3 squads on 1 hex. That's what you kind of have to worry about. But 2 squads, I would definitely take a 1 to 1 -4. That's a 9 for CR. And guess what? When they both roll dice, they could possibly get Yahtzee and then both CR. But 9 for CR, 8 for kill on both of them. You're just not going to get any better odds. That's like 3 to 1. You're turning your 1 to 1 into a 3 to 1 just by holding your shot. That's it. I don't see many people do it at all. I just don't see it. They just engage, or they just withdraw. I don't think that a lot of people want to take that risk. I think the risk is way out of the ball, well worth the reward. Because you're turning a almost nil chance. You're turning, what is the percentage chance? What is the chance of rolling a stupid 4? A 3 is like, where I got it right here. Dice, nope.
18%.
18%?
I'm just guessing. I don't know.
No, it's like where's the? I've got the chart here. Oh, damn it. I had my dice thing up here. Where is it? Logo. FT chart. Dice probabilities right here. So for you to get a kill, if you just jump in close combat, it's an 8.3% chance because you have to roll a 3. Or you could roll a 7. Or in this case, if it's 12 plus 1, you can roll an 8, which is a 72% chance of getting a result. And then he has to roll essentially that'd be a normal morale check. And then he has a 58% chance or a 42% chance of being pinned. So, well, thanks, babe. He has a 42% chance of being pinned. So you went from a 8% chance of killing him to a 72% chance of getting a result. A pin tactic's actually almost the same because if he pins, he's half firepower, and then it's even at that point. But the odds are far more in your favor in a situation like this by not shooting.
Yeah, I just don't think a lot of people know about it. I didn't know that at all.
No, they don't.
But-
And then put an LMG on him. Put an LMG on this guy. That's 7 firepower. What's that? 7 tripled.
21. Yeah.
21. Now you're on the fucking 20 chart. And if you roll a 7 there, he's got an 8 morale. He's got a 2 morale check going. Is he going to roll a 4 to pass those morale checks? No. Just like you're not going to roll a 4 to CR him in close combat. He has to roll 4s to not get broken. And that's with an LMG.
Wow.
Now the medium, obviously the medium you could probably open up on him here at 16 plus 3, right? So most likely that situation is not going to occur if you have a medium machine gun because you're going to probably open up on him at 16 plus 3. So light machine gun, 12 plus 3, maybe keep it and teach him a lesson. And at that point, if he's got 3 squads there, I mean, he's going to be a 12 plus 1 advanced fire shot, which is going to probably lose your concealment. Again, if you're going to lose the concealment in the advanced fire shot, you might want to take the shot initially anyway. But that's up to you. Or if you can route away, when he breaks you, keep your concealment so he doesn't really harm you. Because it's looking at 6 plus 1. If he has 3 guys in there, right, in the advanced fire phase, because he moved, right? It's 12 halved for advanced fire phase, halved because you're concealed, and then doubled. So he's still half. So that's a 6 plus 1 shot. At that point, he has to roll an 8. So a little less chance. You get about a 42% chance of not being affected. Do you want to take that? Not bad. It's still better than your chance of affecting him in close combat. You still might not want to fire. And again, that's an 8 plus 3. And then let him jump in close combat. And then that'll be a 3 to 2. A 6. Again, can you avoid a 6? You could avoid a 6. Because the risk versus reward, he's risking 3 squads and you're risking 1 dude.
Yeah.
Because especially if you have an LMG, that's a 20 chart. All 3 of those guys are going to break. That's a 2 morale check. On average, on a roll of 7, that's 2 morale check. All 3 of them break. And then that's when you add the extra guy in. Now that's a 1 to 2 minus 4 on all of them. So that's a 7, they all die. You just roll average and they all die.
Wow.
So something to think about. Like again, the LMG will just punch him in the face. Hell, you could outright kill him with the LMG. Snake Eyes will cower, but a 3 will K4 him. Or Maracek, they're all going to break. They're all going to ELR too as well. So, yeah, something to try. And when the situation presents itself, give it a shot and see what happens. And your opponent's going to say, "What the hell did I just do?" Yeah. Especially if he's got like a little leader, right? Like a 7-0 or something like that, and he jumps you with a 7-0 or something. He's going to lose a leader. It's guaranteed. It's almost guaranteed he's going to lose a leader, and he's going to wonder why he lost the game. That's why everyone takes a little half squad and they just bounce units off like concealed units, because you don't want to advance in close combat with the concealed unit. And the same thing works backwards, right? I mean, you probably don't want to go backwards, but you could tie him up. Like if you went first and you just advanced into his hex, it was your turn. Especially if it's a stone building, you probably want to do it in very high TEMs. Here it's tripled and halved. Here he has 16, but again, if you advance into there, he can't fire out. he can't fire out. It's still an enemy unit. Or at that point, you could just drop concealment at any time and then lock him in melee in the prep fire phase. So the weird thing. That's a huge risk. I haven't tried that yet. But that's something you could possibly do.
Yeah, now think if you got bonsai units doing this.
Yeah. Yep. It's something.
Thanks, Stu. I got to run, but
Yeah.
thanks very much.
Yeah,
Craig.
that was a
talk
good
to you.
discussion right there at the end.
It was.
Some little things
Appreciate it.
some little things you learn. I want to see you guys use it, man. And when
Yeah,
you
we
do
will.
use it, show me your log because it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great day.
Yeah.
All right, you guys have
Thank
a good
you.
night.
Take care, gentlemen.
Too.